little glint in his hungry eyes. Little king of the parking lot, dragging home another prize. Tactical tail, twitching fast. He's got clips on every branch. If it flips, if it locks, if it lasts, he's the rodent of the EDC clan. He's the EDC Squirrel, stashed in the bark. Blade in the daylight, blade in the dark. From the curb to the cul-de-sac, rod sharpen your wits and protect your nuts. Protect your nuts. Protect your nuts. Tiny terror in the tree line cuts. He'll drop from a power line, show you what's riding his hip. Thumb stud flipper, front flick spine. He lives for that perfect click. Spreading word to the backyard crew. Check this edge, feel that grind. Every acorn, every review, carved with a steel tooth mine. He's the EDC Squirrel, stashed in the bark. Blade in the daylight, blade in the dark. From the curb to the cul-de-sac, rod sharpen your wits and protect your nuts. Protect your nuts. Protect your nuts. Tiny terror in the tree line cuts. Climb high, tree line thrown in the storm. Cold bite, metal heart staying warm. If you mess with a scribe or his heart, you'll hear one battle cry roar. From the brush, protect your nuts. Protect your nuts. He's the EDC Squirrel, stashed in the bark. Blade in the daylight, blade in the dark. From the mail call crate to the gutter front rod, sharpen your wits and protect your nuts. Protect your nuts. Protect your nuts. A little legend with the pocket cut guts.
Okay, let's see if this works this time. Oh God, okay. This was. Sorry for the late start. And what just happened here? Sorry for the late start. Have been having some technical difficulties, and I think I might have figured out what's going on. Hold on a second. I'm trying to move something around because for some odd reason, I don't know what's happening there. Okay. Let's put all this where it's supposed to be. Some of my windows just, I realized, shifted around. Okay, I think we're good. So let's take this out. And there we go. Okay, ran into some issues earlier, so sorry for the late start. It's the EDC Squirrel. It is Saturday the 13th, and we're giving this one more try because, excuse me, I was running into a whole bunch of issues with the camera. I think I might have figured out what was going on, and hopefully things will smooth out. I'm not going to say it's going to be perfect, but hopefully things smooth out. I had gotten a new upgrade to my phone, and excuse me, I use Droid Cam as well as OBS to do my live streams, and I think when I upgraded to the new phone, it was trying to set everything at a much higher quality than, I mean, I don't mind high quality, but I think it was set to a much higher quality than the connection between my phone and the PC could handle, and it was causing quite a few issues. So hopefully that was it, and it'll be the end to all the stuttering and blank screens and all that other wackiness. So I was actually thinking of canceling today, but I figured I'll give it another shot since I saw that issue, and hopefully everything works and we can have somewhat of a Saturday stream today. But anyway, again, name's the EDC Squirrel. I try to hold live every Saturday, normally at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. This one's running a little late. Excuse me. And like to do knife chat, share some new stuff I got throughout the week, and sometimes I'll do some customizations and just talk about knives in general. So another sip of coffee, and we'll get started. First thing, I'm going to start making this like the very first thing I do when I do a stream, and I'm going to show you what was in my pocket for the last 2 days, what I was carrying for my daily carry the last 2 days. And this was in my pocket. I normally carry at least 2 knives with me every day if I'm out and about. Usually I carry a modern knife and I'll carry a traditional. My modern knife that I was carrying is an Ontario Rat 1.5. This one was new for this year. This was actually not only new for this year, but the size and the steel were new. This one is a 1.5, and it is done in Magna Cut. Now, the original Rats, I believe, were made with AUS 8 steel. And I believe you can get S35 VN steel as well. And the AUS 8 ones normally ran roughly around $40. The S35 VN steel ones would run, if I remember correctly, around $100. Now, the interesting thing about this Rat, and I did a video on this, dropped one actually just a couple days ago. This is probably, in my opinion, right now, as of this year, probably one of the best bangs for the buck that you can get, because you have Magna Cut steel. It's a premium steel, and it's running it under $100. When I got mine was, I think it was around $95. I got this for, and so under $100 for a Magna Cut steel. And not only that, this was independently tested on steelhardnesslab.com, and they tested out at a optimal, I think it was like 63 point something HRC. So you're getting first of all, a premium steel, also a properly treated Magna Cut at under $100. But that's pretty darn crazy. The other knife that I was carrying with me, like I said, I always carry a traditional and a modern. Excuse the coughing, sorry. The traditional knife I was carrying with me was a Case chestnut bone trapper. Your typical trapper, this one happens to be done in chestnut bone. You got your clip point blade and then a spay blade for your secondary. I've used this one quite a lot. It's one of my favorite ones to carry. And the traditional knives, when I carry a modern and I carry a traditional knife, typically, if I'm not in a rush, if time isn't of the essence, and I happen to be doing a lot of work using the knife for whatever reason, the traditional knife that I carry tends to do most of the work for me. I'll pull this out and use my traditional knife, whichever traditional knife I happen to be carrying, and that'll do most of the cutting. If I'm doing a lot of package opening or box cutting, things like that, I'll be using my traditional knife more than anything. I still have my modern knife, and usually the modern knife comes out if I have, say, one of my hands is occupied, like I'm holding onto something and I can only use one hand to manipulate the knife, or if speed is of the essence, like an emergency or something, then I'll pull my modern out, and that's when I use that. But otherwise, the traditional knife that I have usually does most of the work. Ooh, good God, today is weird. Now, interesting, or a little off than what I normally do, I had a third knife on me, and I was also carrying this in my pocket. This is a Victorinox, a Swiss Army knife. This happens to be this is a limited collaboration between SMKW and Victorinox. As you can see, SMKW right there, Smoky Mountain Knife Works, and this happens to be their PB&J collaboration.
And I don't know what compelled me to throw this in my pocket as well. I don't normally carry that many knives, but I do carry a few. This is just a nifty little knife. You have quite a few things in there. I can't remember the exact model on this one. I know when I got it on SMKW, this one ran for $25 on sale. I think regular price was like $30. I also have a smaller version that was around $20. That doesn't have as much as this does. This one, you've got a large primary blade. You also have a secondary blade, a little smaller there. You have a can opener as well as a bottle opener and some flathead screwdrivers. That's the can opener. The bottle opener's right there, the larger flathead. And you also have a Phillips on the other side, as well as a punch or reamer. And then your typical Swiss Army tweezers and toothpick. In this case, that's the toothpick. And then we got the tweezers here as well. So nifty little piece. I don't normally collect Victorinox, but I don't know. I saw these on sale, decided to pick it up, and these things are nifty. You got a nice sharp knife when you need it, as well as a few other tools. Kind of like it's just a nice little, I don't know, it's like one of your original multi-tools, really. And nice to have in the pocket. I thought it was pretty darn neat. And I don't know what compelled me to carry that along with everything else, but that was my daily carry for actually the last 2 days, was the Ontario Rat, the case, and the Victorinox Swiss Army knife. But let me know what you had in your pocket, what you've been carrying. Put it in the chat, and we'll move on to some of the new stuff that I got today. So let me go ahead and close these. I'll put these off to the side. This thing is freaking awesome, by the way. I highly recommend. Again, I think this is probably one of the best bangs for the buck if you're looking for something, in my opinion, hard-working knife, great steel, awesome price. I mean, Magna Cut steel, typically what you'd find that for like around $150 is what I usually see a knife with Magna Cut steel. And I think the lowest I've seen it was like before this was like 145, just under 150, and that was coming from Kershaw with their Bel Air when the original Bel Air went on sale. So that was even their sale price, but really, really awesome. And again, probably your best bang for the buck on that. So we'll move that off to the side, and then we're going to take a look at some of the new knives. And again, I got 2 new knives this last week. Let me see here. Two new knives just this last week, both case knives, and we might possibly be burning one. Now, the first knife that I got, we'll start with this first, because this one I know I won't be burning or do anything like that. This one comes in a rather large tin, and this is called, let's see here, because I don't want it to fall out. This is, now the case number is 10865. This is the Olive Green Bone Smooth Trapper with tin. Let's open this up. If it'll open, good grief. Okay, come on. Oh, this one's tight. Okay, there we go. Now we got all our case paperwork, knife safety insert instructions. When you get a knife like this from Case that's in a tin, like of this size, usually it's because they have the blades open and on display, as you can see there, as opposed to just closed while in the box. So they actually include a knife insert instructions piece of paper, and that's because there's a plastic piece that holds the blades in the proper position, so that way you can put it on there without it snapping shut on your fingers. And your other case info there. Now we'll take this out so we can take a closer look at it. Like I said, this was the olive bone smooth. Now this, I believe, this is a limited edition, correct? I thought this was limited. I believe these were limited. I don't know if they were serialized. In fact, I remember I had the page open a moment ago, but I ended up closing it while I was trying to figure out all these issues that I was having. Now let's take a look at that number again. This one was 10865. Okay. Oh, was this a SHOT Show thing? I don't believe this was a SHOT Show thing. Or if it was, I didn't realize it was a SHOT Show thing. Huh. So apparently this was the 2026 SHOT Show. Or was for 2026 SHOT Show. Excuse me. And I know they're limited, but I don't believe they're not. I don't believe they're serialized, and I don't know the exact number that may have been made, but yeah, I don't see a serial number. Let's go ahead and remove the insert. Actually, let's be really careful about this because this sucker is pretty sharp. There's the plastic insert. We're going to move that real quick. Put that back in the tin. Again, is your typical trapper. You have a California clip point blade as your main, and then you have a spay as your secondary. Now, total length on this when open is going to be about 4.13 inches, I believe. I can't remember how long they are when they're closed. I believe they're just over 3 inches. The blade length is just over 3 inches. And this has a weight of about 4 ounces. But you got a smooth olive green bone for the scales. And I can't recall. I think they call this their arrowhead badge. Beautiful color on that green bone. That's not a crack. That's actually just a line in the bone. Nice and smooth. There's the other side. I think they call this the pale side. But just an absolute beautiful color. I wasn't sure about olive green, but I think this looks pretty darn classy in my opinion. Another close-up look if we can get this to focus. There we go. Got my fingerprints all over it. And this one, a lot of times I'll get a case knife, and when I get them, I'll have a little bit of a burr. I can feel that on here. So, just like any other case knife, a lot of times they'll have a burr on the edge, and it doesn't take much to work it off. A little bit, just a quick honing on a very, very fine stone or on a strop, and that'll usually come right off. And when I do that, normally, like I said, the burr comes off really easily. And then once that's done, I can usually get these razor sharp. Pretty clean, cleaner than I normally see when I first get a case. Does the spade blade have a bit of a burr on there as well? So I will probably clean this up. Now I don't collect knives to resell, so these are all for my own personal collection, and quite possibly this might be one that I'd carry as well. Pretty classy looking, and these typically run around $80 for the olive bone. I got this one from Chasing Blades on Whatnot. Very, very gorgeous looking olive on that. we're going to go ahead and put this back in. And the way this works, like I said, in order to not have these slap down on your fingers, this plastic insert goes, I believe it was this side. Or no, it's on this side. Okay. And that just presses in. And you might need to do a little bit of adjustment. I've played with, or I've had other knives that came in these tins before, so I know sometimes they poke out a little bit on the end here. And then they have this little plastic block that prevents the blades from closing completely and holds them at the proper angles. So although you might have to adjust by moving this block left or right in the well to get the right angle, I just happen, yep, perfect fit. There we go. And then it'll go back in the tin. Makes for a really nice display if that's how you want to have it. Jam, that's how you doing. So that's how that works. Really awesome trapper from Case. Absolutely gorgeous. And that's one of the knives that I got this last week. So we're just going to put that off to the side. Well, actually, just leave that there. Now, the other knife that I got this last week, I know I've been taking a little slower these last few weeks, mainly because bills and other stuff that I've been wanting to get. So I slowed down a little bit. Things are starting to pick up again. So next week I plan on, actually I'll have a new modern knife next week. I think a lot of people will be excited to see. Excuse me. The other knife, this one might be the one that I'll toast today. This one is a bright green bone Gator Jig Barlow, number 11443. And this one was also from Chasing Blades. I actually got this with the intent to toast it. I did take a look at it previously, and I wasn't sure I wanted to do it anymore because it looks absolutely beautiful. Like, this is a really nice specimen for the Green Gator Jig. Just gorgeous looking bone. A little bit of milk there, and really nicely centered blades. Little off on that clip point, but doesn't hit anything. Got a nice half stop. There's your clip point. And then you have, I believe they call it, it's either a spear point or a pen blade for the secondary. Really strong springs on this too. It's a really good snap. An absolutely beautiful green. I might be picking up another one of these, which is why I might go ahead and toast this one. So that one we might be toasting today, because I'm really curious to see how the green looks with a nice toast on it. Now, I do have other Green Gator Jig knives. I have a axe handle as well as a mini trapper, but I wanted to go with trying it on a Barlow because I was looking for two things. I wanted a nice, decent looking jigging to the bone, which this does have. And I also wanted it to go roughly the majority of the scale. Now, the other one, the axe handle, does go pretty much the majority of the scale. That jigging goes, throughout the whole scale on it. But I just don't want to do the axe handle. The mini trapper has some decent jigging. However, it doesn't go from end to end, and you have a decent amount of smooth spots near the bolsters. So I wanted something with a bit more jigging to it, and this fit the bill. So we might go ahead and burn that today. I don't normally collect Barlows. They're not typically a pattern that I carry. I have a couple, not a whole lot. This is one out of maybe three, but like I said, I wanted to try it on this one simply because of how the jigging is done. So we are going to take out the torch and make sure this is nice and clean. I'm not going to oil it or anything. And we might be doing that. Here, have a sip of coffee, wet my whistle here a little bit. And how you doing, Jam Dats? Hope you're having a good Saturday. Had a late start today because I was running into issues. And I hope I fix it. I notice I'm still freezing a little bit, but it's not as bad as it was this morning. Today was horrendous, or this morning when I shouldn't say this morning, this afternoon when I first started the stream. Absolutely horrendous, and I wasn't sure if I was actually going to continue streaming. I actually had planned on rescheduling, but I think I found the issue, and it seems to be working a bit better. But we will probably be doing that one. In fact, let's get everything prepared. Yeah, we'll go ahead and do this one. I want to toast it. I want to see how this looks with a nice toast on it, and maybe we'll invent a new color. Let's make sure that I've got my handy dandy torch out. I've got my tin ready. There we go. I'll use that to do the torching and hold the knife. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to extend both these blades. Now, this is a 2-blade, so this is something I'm going to need to wrap. I'm going to wrap those blades in, what do you call it, painter's tape. As soon as I remember what I did with my painter's tape. There it is. Okay. And we are going to toast this knife. Now, I like to toast these with the blades open because it helps cool the knife down. And I'll wrap the blades so they're easy and safer to handle. Because one thing you got to be I've got to be cautious about when I first started doing these toastings is, one, I've got to watch the temperature. You don't want them to get too hot for a few reasons. One, you don't want to cause cracks to appear on the bone because the bone can shrink just a little bit, especially if it seems like it gets too hot. And it's possible to cause a crack where the pins or where the shield is. And to give you an example of what that looks, actually, let me open this up all the way. There we go. To give you an example of what that looks like, this was one of the knives I kind of like test burned. And I did run it a little too hot. It was one of my first goes. And you can see there's a small hairline crack that formed. I can't recall if that was something although I can't recall admittedly if that was something that I did while I was toasting, because I don't recall seeing it before the toast. And it appears on a very lightly toasted area. So I'm not sure if that was caused by the toasting. All I know is that if you do it for too high of a heat and for too long, it could cause a crack. Or maybe that crack was there when before I was able to see it, because this was a white bone. Maybe the crack was there, just really hard to see, and the toast brought it out. So that's also a possibility. So I need to like I said, I need to make sure I have something to measure the temperature. Let me go grab that real quick. Okay, I have my handy dandy laser thermometer. Let's put this away. Did my light go out? Did it get darker? No, my light's on. Just seems like it got darker. Maybe it's because of the tin. Like I said, I got a new phone, which I use as my webcam when I do this. And it's a great camera, but I'm finding it has its little quirks compared to my old phone that I was using before. I think it's like doing a lot of auto adjustment. Okay, so I've got my laser thermometer. We're gonna brighten this up a little bit. Hopefully that helps. Okay. Just turn the light up a little bit, and then we're gonna go ahead and prep this for toasting. Now, what I like to do is normally when I get a case knife, the first thing I usually do is apply a little oil to the pivot, and then I kind of drown the wells in oil in order to clean any gunk out and stuff like that. But when I know I'm going to be toasting a knife, I don't apply any oil. And if there is any oil, I do my best to clean off any oil that I can see. So I don't want to be like cooking the knife in oil. I'm going to grab some swabs real quick. As soon as I remember where I put them. There they are. And make sure the wells are nice and clean. And again, that there's not too much oil in the well. And then we're going to see how this looks after I toast it. I did have another knife that was a custom collaboration between Chasing Blades on Whatnot and Texan Knives. And they had made a series of knives for Chasing Blades. And the reason why I'm doing this is they took a blue bone Gator Jig trapper of their own making, and then they heavily toasted it. Now, I don't know if I'm going to do it as heavy as they did, but the reason why I want to toast this Barlow, twofold. I thought that the knife they created looked absolutely beautiful. I thought it looked gorgeous. In fact, let me see if I can pull that out. I got to go grab it because I don't have it here with me. Where did I put it? I had it here a moment ago because I was planning on showing it. And you are probably sitting on my box somewhere. I have knives everywhere. In fact, one could say, I know, I've been told I have way too many knives. No such thing as too many knives. Where did I put? Darn it. I had it put away. Well, I didn't have it put away, but I had it some. There it is. Got it. So the reason why I want to toast this knife is because they did this. Now, this originally was a blue bone. They decided to do their own experiment and toast a blue bone. And they toasted it really heavily. You can see the original blue dye on the bone. Again, this was made by Texan Knives in a collaboration for Chasing Blades. But here you can see a really deep toast. Now, it got rid of a lot of that blue, but I just thought that the Gator Jig patterning on this, along with that toast, looked absolutely beautiful. And yes, this is a Damascus steel knife. So I wanted to see how it looked with a green bone. Since the green Gator Jig bone was new for this year, I wanted to see how it would look with, I don't know if I'll go this dark, but we're gonna look. We're gonna see what I can do. But I thought this was absolutely gorgeous how that came out. I thought it looked super unique, just beautiful. And we're gonna try to do something similar with this green Gator Jig. So I don't know how I know I like to customize some of my knives. I don't customize every knife that I get, but I like to experiment sometimes. A lot of times I'll get two knives and keep one pristine. This is my only Barlow. I don't normally collect Barlows, but I'll probably snag another one as soon as Chasing Blades gets more of them in stock. But I wanted to try and see what I could do with this one. Normally, my favorite patterns to collect are trappers. I like trappers of all sizes. Your regular trapper, mini, and tinies. I like docks, but those are now in the vault. My new favorite are the case axe handles. And like muskrats, and actually preferably sow bellies. I like sow bellies as well. But I'll pick up the odd pattern now and then, either because I want to try something new, or especially if I don't have an example of that pattern in my collection, I'll grab one or two of them just so I have at least an example of what that pattern might be like, if anybody wanted to see one. So, okay, looking pretty clean. There's a little bit of gunk in there. Now, normally, like I said, I would just flood this well with oil and then clean all that gunk out, but I don't want to oil it until after I'm done with the toast. But I am trying to get rid of as much debris as possible. I'll grab a couple more swabs. There we go. So just trying to clear out any and as much stuff in there as I can. And then remove as many oils as I can. If there is any, there's not much, if any, on this particular knife. This one seems like it might be a bit dry. I don't know if Case oiled this. It doesn't appear like they have. Okay. I'll give this a final wipe down. I'm going to start moving some of this stuff off my table. I don't need anything flammable going up in flames. In fact, I'll put this tin away with the olive bone. Put that down for now. And move some of these other knives off to the side. But if you haven't yet, let me know what your daily carry was. Put it in chat. I'd like to hear. I'm always curious to know what people are carrying, because then it gets added to my shopping list if I don't already have it. Okay, so let's toss those dirty swabs away. Got one clean swab here. Move this over. Okay, I think I'm good. Oh, I dropped a bunch of knives on the ground. Move those out of the way of my feet. And if anybody's wondering, yes, I do have a fire extinguisher handy nearby. Always got to be safe. All right. Thermometer's there. Let's put my rat away. Excuse me. Okay. So now we have a nice oil-free, as far as I can tell, surface. I'm just giving it one more once-over with a microfiber cloth. And then we'll be good to go. Now let me check. I've got enough butane in my torch. We are good. All right. So let's see how this turns out. Now, I like to start, in this case, I normally start where the bolsters are. So I'm going to start on this side and kind of move my way this way. My intent is to add a little toast on the flat portion here. Try not to linger on the pins or the shield, and toast the edges all around the scale, as well as the high point, the ridges of the Gator Jig. So that's my intent. And then we're gonna start off slow, because I have no idea how quickly the green dye is going to react to the torch. Normally, dyes will light up. It's lighting up a little bit. a little bit. Light it up, or it lightened up a lot. Okay, so it adds, it toasts pretty quick. Now I'm going to do this in small bursts because I want to make sure I don't heat up that bone too quickly. And I always stay under I don't want to go anywhere close to 200, usually around 150, and I'll let it rest a little bit. I hit just about 145, and it's cooling down now, and then I let it cool on its own. I do have a ceiling fan going, but you don't want to cool it too rapidly either. So I'm not like harshly blowing on it or anything like that. And that's another reason why I have the blades out. I actually like a little heat sink. And we're already down to like 90. So we're going to continue. No, I do it in little bursts because it's easier for me to control. And that's to help prevent it from getting too dark too quick. Because you can always go darker, but you can't go lighter. Once you've burnt the bone, that's it. Sometimes it'll lighten up after you give it a good polish. But typically, if you have it really dark, it's going to be really dark. You're not going to be able to lighten it up. Excuse me. And we're just going to start by going all around this edge. And then I'll start working on the ridges of the jigging. We'll see where our temp's at right now. 150. Okay. So we will let it rest. Again, don't want to do it too quickly or do it too high. So we'll give that. Oh, Red Eye, Red Eye Patriot. Thanks for the sub and welcome to the stream. Yeah, working on toast. I like to experiment sometimes. Depends on the knife. Depends on the knife. I've been really curious to see how this might look on a Green Gator jig. So that's what I'm doing. Last time I did a burn, I toasted a Tequila Sunrise Sodbuster Jr. and I thought it came out really, really nice. And we're gonna let this cool off a little bit. Let me check the temps. I like a good toast. Some people, I've heard both sides. I mean, I like a good toast, and again, you got to be kind of. You ordered a Gator axe and trapper. Oh, wait, they have a red Gator? I've got a few axes. I have a Green Gator Jig axe, but I don't want to toast that one. I've heard both sides. I like to experiment, and a lot of times I'll emulate something that somebody else has already done. Like when Shepherd Hills came out with their tin roof Sodbuster Jr. I noticed that the tin roof was essentially a gray bone that was then toasted by Case. As a collaboration with Shepherd Hills. Well, I couldn't get a hold of a tin roof any longer, so I decided to get a gray bone and do it myself. Now, I couldn't get the exact same jigging, but I made my own like tin roof, I guess you could say. And I thought it came out pretty well. But a lot of it is experimentation. You got to go with knowing that there's a possibility, not it may not come out the way you want it to, or it might come out really different. But that's the nature of the thing. The last one I did was this. This was a tequila sunrise that I toasted relatively lightly, got around the edges, hit the ridges of the jigging. I like it. I call it kind of like either I call it an autumn bone or a tequila sunset. My own name for it. And I thought it came up pretty well. I like it. And I've heard other people's like, oh my God, you're killing that knife. I'm not doing anything really different than what Case does with their knives. I like to experiment sometimes, kind of like make the knife my own, sorta. Yeah, the Tin Roofs are beautiful, beautiful knives. I did the same thing with. I think the most. It's not really controversial, but I think the Tequila Sunburn. There you go. I think the one I got the most. How do I put this? Controversial comments from. SMKW had come out with their bacon bone. At first, they came out with a dock, and I think they came out with I believe they came out with a sodbuster or a trapper. I can't recall, but they called it their bacon bone, which is essentially a red bone that has also been toasted. I tried to make a red bone trapper, and now I like it, but I don't think it looks like bacon. I think it looks more like. I called it my carnivore because it looks kind of like a slice of a rare slice of steak. At least the way it seems to come out for me was a rare slice of steak, which does make me hungry. I like it. I think it looks kind of neat, especially with a polish to give it that like sheen, which makes it look kind of I don't know. Like a freshly cut slice of steak. Again, it's experimentation. Some people liked it. I think it still looks kind of neat. Not what I anticipated. I was actually hoping more for bacon, but yeah, it is what it is. But I like to try. I like to try to experiment, come up with new things. It's my money. I understand how much these knives cost. I'll probably get another one of these, and I'll probably get another Barlow and keep that one pristine, just so I have a comparison to show like this is what it looked like before I took a torch to it, and now after. There we go. But I get mine from chasing blades on Whatnot. I do a lot of purchasing on Whatnot. And I just have to wait for them to get another one in stock. I'm trying to even the edges out here. Again, I don't want it to get too hot. Oh, there's so many that look super awesome. You're mostly pre-World War II and right after bone, and a right after bone kind of guy. I get whatever I think looks kind of neat. If it looks interesting, I'll get it. I mean, my favorites tend to be like the greens. Just kind of whatever happens to catch my fancy. I mean, I've got blues, I've got grays, I've got a multitude. I've got now. Funny thing, I started collecting case knives probably just under a year ago. And I've been collecting knives for years. Most of my knives are modern knives. And I just really got into traditional knives just under a year ago. I got my first Rough Rider. And then I started getting more Rough Riders. And then I got into case knives. And now case knives make up, I own more case knives than I own any other, from any other manufacturer. I own more case knives than any other one manufacturer in my collection now, after going pretty much hog wild on these things. Yeah, they're all unique, all interesting. And even if you were to get 5 Green Gator jigs, they're all going to have little differences that just set them apart. Some might have more milk to them. Some might be a little deeper in the jigging. Some might be more darkly colored, green. They all have their individual personality. You collect Rogers bone specifically? Really? I don't know if I might have like one or two, maybe. Again, my collection's pretty young. I do have like one old case that I hunted down specifically because it was born in the same year that I was, and I just wanted something that was, I just wanted something that was born in the same year. And it's an older hunter. I don't have it out here at the moment. It's back in the box, but it's a two-bladed hunter. Otherwise, a lot of mine, I don't think I have anything older than. Other than that, I don't think I have anything older, at least from case knives, anything older than like 2000. In fact, probably nothing older than 2010 aside from that one. Yeah, birth years are fun to hunt. I'm trying to get one that's specifically born on my birthday, regardless of the year, because I know trying to find my birthday and years is going to be nearly impossible. But I'm trying to find one that's born on my birthday, and that's on August 5th. And I've seen one August 4th. I've seen one August 6th. But trying to find one of my exact day has been, I just haven't had any luck. Hopefully soon. I have a couple retailers kind of looking out for me. And they say as soon as they see one, they'll hang on to it. Now, this is the part that kind of makes me nervous, is hitting that area right by the bolster. And because being a Barlow, it's a little bit smaller of a handle. So the pins and the bolsters are closer together. And like I said, I don't want to linger or heat up too much on the pin. Or the shield. Let's see where the temp is on that. 150. Okay, we'll let it rest again. Been looking for your daughters. Oh, I know a lot of people that do that. They'll look for the birth dates for their kids and stuff. I knew somebody that a lot of my case knives. I do a lot of business on Whatnot. If you don't know what Whatnot is, I know it sounds like I shill Whatnot a lot, but I just do a lot of business with them. They're not I'm not sponsored or anything like that. Whatnot is a live auction site. It's an auction app where they hold live shows that, a live actual auction is going on. And there's a lot of stuff you can find on Whatnot, from candy, food, electronics, jewelry, clothing, shoes, whatever. But there's a pretty big knife community on Whatnot. And you got a lot of sellers that sell knives. Every type of knife you can think of, you can probably find on Whatnot. I do a lot of business with a seller named Chasing Blades. They carry a lot of case knives, buck knives, and a few others. But I get a majority of my case knives from them. There's another one called RL Simp that I'll buy from. And I'll usually get something from RL Simp if it's something that I know Chasing Blades can't get a hold of. Usually Chasing Blades can get a hold of most anything except for a lot of exclusives. RL Simp somehow is able to get a hold of a lot of exclusives. So I'll go to him if it's an exclusive that I can't find anywhere else. And for modern knives, I usually buy from, like, one of the bigger ones is Blade City, and then Going Gear. I get some really good deals from Blade City and Going Gear for modern stuff. But most of my traditional knives are coming from Chasing Blades. And in fact, this one was from them as well. Now I'm going down the middle. Another thing, okay, this is a little addictive because it does smell good. I don't know what it is about case knives and toasting case knives or toasting bone on case knives, but it smells tasty. Maybe it's just me. I tried burning other knives, other bone knives, and I don't know. Sometimes they coat them, or sometimes they have an adhesive on them that make sure you've got good air circulation before you do this. Because I remember burning a Browning because I was testing burning a red bone. So I actually did a test on a Browning trapper that I had. And oh my God, I don't know if they coated it with something. I know the epoxy was bubbling up under their script like shield. And that was smelling something. I was feeling weird. You buy from Deep South Cutlery? Oh, I've seen Deep South Cutlery, yes. I don't know if I may have bought something from him before. I can't recall. But I do bounce around a lot, but the majority of the time I spend my time on Whatnot is usually those 4 Chasing Blades, RL Sim. Also Appalachian freeze dried knives. He sells a lot of case as well as freeze dried candy. And for moderns, like I said, Blade City and Going Gear. Oh, and Bardstown Blade Company was a new one that I've been to a few shows. He's really good, ships really quick. But I have seen. I'm pretty sure I've been on Deep South Cutlery. I just can't recall if I bought anything from them. The ones that I've named before, are just the ones I happen to frequent the most. But I've been known to bounce around quite a bit. That app is freaking addictive. I've spent more money, I think, because of that app. I forgot who introduced me to the app. But ever since, I think I attribute my case knife collection entirely due to that app. Like 90% of the case knives I've gotten are from that app. And I would say about like 70 to 80% from Chasing Blades. The only time I've gotten something off the app, like from another retailer, is usually an exclusive that's hard to find. Like I lucked out. I managed to get I managed to get 2 exclusives from SMKW, their Sea Dragon axe handle and the PB&J axe handle, which I think was just sheer luck in getting those, because those things sold out on their website. As soon as they dropped, I was on the website, and those things sold out in under 2 minutes. I think the PB&J sold out in under 1.5 minutes. And when you think, from what I understand, they might have had like maybe roughly between 500 to 600 go for sale on their website. That's like 500 to 600 knives freaking gone in under 1.5 minutes. It's pretty crazy. I know they held on to some for their auctions, and I believe they brought a bunch to was it Atlanta? Was the last Blade Show Atlanta? And because I know a lot of people, I was looking at Instagram and I saw a lot of people showing off their new PB&J axe handle and stuff from Blade Show Atlanta. And so I know they held on to a few for that. But otherwise, I was really, really lucky to get my hands on one, because those things, I know they they hold on to a couple of them for their auctions, and after they had sold out, like the Sea Dragon, that sold out in under 2 minutes. They had one. They decided, as far as I know, they put a few on auction on Whatnot. Now, I don't know why people were so angry, because there were a lot of people blaming Smoky Mountain Knife Works for going, "Oh, you guys charge too much for it," blah blah blah. No, it's not. It's not Smoky Mountain Knife Works. It's not SMKW. In fact, SMKW, they took some risks, but they started the auction at $1. Okay, so you can't sit there and say they were trying to swindle people out of a lot of money. They started the auction at $1. For all intents and purposes, if somebody had won the auction for $1, they were pretty much contracted to honor that sale. It's everybody else bidding on it. They started the Sea Dragon at $1, and I think it reached over $250 around there, between $200 to $250 for that one auction that I saw. And I think the price on the Sea Dragon axe handle when it was when it went on sale, retail price was like $80 something. I've heard some people saying some of the PB&Js hit like 400. Now that's just what I've heard. I haven't seen that for myself, but pretty darn crazy. Pretty darn crazy. I like I said, I lucked out. At the same time, I had alarms set. I was sitting there like a hawk waiting for that thing to drop, and then I was pressing buttons as fast as I could as soon as I saw that they went on for sale. Okay, I'm trying to hit the ridges now. And again, I'm trying to do this slowly. I hit... Okay, the bolster, I believe, one of the pins hit almost 170, so I got to be really careful. Again, I make sure I stay, at the very least, I stay under 200 degrees. I like to stop when it hits around 150. Carry of the day. Hey, Lone Star, your carry of the day was the Boker Plus Balisong. Really? Now I got to look, because I'm not familiar with that one. Boker... This is what gets me in trouble. I ask you guys what you're carrying for the day, and if it's interesting, I've been known to just buy something while I'm doing my live, which doesn't help my wallet. Boker Plus Balisong Large. Let me take a peek at this one. Boker USA. I don't have it. You know what? You're gonna kill me. I don't have any Boker. I've been wanting to get a Boker. Oh, and D2 steel. Wow, that's not a bad not available, or at least not through Boker. Darn it. I do like a nice Balisong. I don't really collect them. I have like one or two, but I think they are kind of neat. D2 steel. G10 handles. I might have to take it. Might have to see if I can snag something like that. No longer, or at least, what did it say? I don't know if it was it no longer available or just not available. And they did have it for sale. I think regular price, at least on their website, was $125. Boker, the last price they were running a sale for $29.95. That could be why it's out. Darn. Pretty sweet. My carry of the day, I actually had them earlier. I'll pull them back out so you can see. The last 2 days, my carry consisted of, because I'm giving this time to cool down a little bit before I start toasting again, I have an Ontario Rat 1.5, which was new for this year, the one that they did in Magna Cut. But the Ontario Rat 1.5, I was carrying a chestnut bone trapper, and I just happen to also have in my pocket, where did they put it? I put it down somewhere. Now I don't know where I put it. I was also carrying an SMKW exclusive peanut butter and jelly. There it is. Peanut butter and jelly Victorinox. Usually I carry a modern and I carry a traditional, whatever I head out. But I just happen to have, I completely forgot I had this in my pocket, to be quite honest. So I'm just including it in what I had in my carry. But that was what I had in my pocket for the last 2 days. That was my carry. I switch around a lot. I don't carry every knife in my collection, but I do have, I do switch around quite a bit. And I've got like, I think I'm around close to 450 knives at this point. Now, again, I don't carry every knife in my collection, but I do rotate quite a few of them. Some of them, admittedly, are safe queens, like those knives that you just you can't replace because they're either limited, no longer available, or they're goofy expensive. For me, goofy expensive is anything that starts reaching towards 300. Anything over 300, I generally, I'm not rich. I like to eat. I have bills to pay. So I think the most expensive knife I have is right around $300 retail. But I probably got for maybe so what? I think the most I paid was probably 250, 270, roughly around there. After that, it starts getting kind of like, I don't like the idea of if something were to happen to that knife, it would be a lot harder for me to replace something that was around $300 than it is for me to replace something that's say 150. So most of my knives tend to be around that 150 range. And there's some pretty good stuff around that range. Okay, darkening those ridges again. Letting it cool down. And then we'll see how this looks. So far, it's looking pretty nice. I'm liking that look. That really highlighted those ridges on the Gator Jig. I was worried because now I thought that blue bone that Texan Knives did look pretty neat, but you lost all the color. This one, I was wondering if I was going to lose all the color or if I was going to be able to keep it. And it looks like I'll be able to, that I'm keeping a lot of that green within the jigging, which is what I was hoping would happen. Now, again, I gotta be careful because I don't want to. You can go dark, but you can't lighten it up. So once you go a certain burn, I mean, that's it. You can make it darker. You can't make it lighter. We'll let that cool off. What are we at? Okay, that's good. 120 degrees, so we'll let that cool off a little bit. Red-eyed, what are you carrying today? Put it in the chat. Love to hear. This is how I discovered new stuff. All right. So far, I think it's coming out great. I'm liking the look. And now, like I said before, you can't really lighten it. It will lighten up a tad once I've polished it. And what I mean by polish is I'll just run a I'll give it a good wiping down with a sunshine cloth, and that'll sometimes lighten it up a tad. But yeah, once you've got a dark toast on it, that's it. You can't go any lighter. So I'm trying to be really careful as to how dark I end up taking this. And let's hit it from this side. And I've got to remember, because I've had this habit when I first started toasting knives, that I need to be happy. I need to quit second guessing myself. I remember the first knife I toasted, I kept going, no, it could be a little dark. No, it could be a little darker. No, it could still be a little dark. And now it's like, oh, now it's too dark. So the hard part when it comes to toasting is when to stop. Like that, like I said, that this is the one I was testing it on. Like it's still fine. This is, but I got a little overzealous and went too dark. Granted, I was testing things out, seeing how it would look. This was a white, smooth, or a smooth natural bone, and I was just trying to see what I can do with it. And I went from the outer edge in, and I think, like I said, I don't know if I caused that crack or if that crack was there, and I just didn't see it until after I toasted it. But you can see, like, you can get dark, you can get nice and dark, but you can't lighten it up after that. But that was like one of my very first things that I did. Okay. I think that side is looking good. Just going to even out the edges a little. Make sure those are nice and even. Adding a little bit more towards the bolster. And making sure they're even, or at least the way I like it. I like to make a nice even edge when I can. And I think that side might be good. I like how that came out. I'm going to hit the ridges on this side a little bit more. Trying to make them come out. Because I know they're going to lighten up a little bit. There we go. What's my temp at? And then we will flip over and do the other side. Okay. We're hitting like 160 on that, but I think we're good. I think we're done for that side. So I'm going to let that cool down. And then we'll go on to the other side. I'm not seeing any cracks developed on the pins. A hair. No crack. I was going to say maybe a hair of separation from the bolster, but not. No. Okay, it's not what I thought. No, we're still good. So we'll let that cool off. We'll let that cool off completely, and then we'll go to the other side. Right now, I'm looking at about 120 degrees and dropping pretty rapidly. Once it gets to like around like 80, we'll flip it over. But so far, I'm liking the look. But actually, one of the first ones I did, I toasted, was a green apple, and I thought that came out really neat. I was trying to make what I called a caramel apple. Ooh, my chair is really loud. Where did I put that one? And I thought it came out really neat. I was really happy with it. I have so many knives like sitting at my desk that I can't remember. I can't remember which slip I put that one in. And nope, that's not it. What's this one? Oh, this is one of those green bones that I was trying to emulate the tin roof with. This one is a mini trapper, and that I toasted, which was a gray bone, trying to emulate a tin roof. And I thought this came out really nice. I thought that came out absolutely beautiful. So that's a gray bone pocket worn that I did. And yeah, I don't know what I did with my caramel apple. It's around here somewhere. Oh, here's that sod buster I tried making. I tried, again, another gray bone. I was trying to make something like a tin roof, and I thought that came out really well. Nice toast on that. The ridges came out really nice. I don't know if the camera doesn't pick it up as well as I'd like it to. To me, it looks even better with a naked eye. But I thought that came out pretty well. Trying to make my own tin roof. I forgot what jigging the tin roof actually used, but this one was a gray bone carbon steel pocket worn that I did. I thought looked pretty neat. Yeah, I don't know what I did with my. I don't know what I did with that green one, with the green apple. It's around here somewhere. Like I said, I tend to keep a ton of different knives on my desk, and right now they're all sitting on a case on the floor. But I don't know what I did with it. It's mixed up with all the others. That's not it. I'm trying to find it while this thing cools down. But I am not having the best of luck finding it. This one was a sky blue trapper. I did this because I think it was Whitehorse Custom Knives. They did this with what appeared to be a sky blue trapper. So I hunted down my own sky blue and toasted it myself, and I thought this came out really, really nicely. Again, I think it looks better in hand than it does on cam, but I thought it came out really well. Yeah, I don't know what I did with that green bone or with the green apple. It was around here somewhere, unless it fell off my box and is laying on the floor somewhere underneath another box. I should sort this out a little better. All right, let's see where we're at with this. And we are at, really? This is retaining heat pretty well, 90 degrees, which I know room temp is probably 75. And I do have a fan going on, so we'll let that continue to cool off a little bit. Then we'll start on the other side. In the meantime, I'm going to grab a little coffee. And also, if you guys have any questions on what I'm doing, any questions about my collection, ask away. I always have fun talking about this stuff. It's one of the reasons why. It's probably the biggest reason why I do this live, is because I enjoy talking about knives, meeting people that share the same interests and hobbies and stuff. Great way to meet people. And I am now upset that I can't find my green apple. It's around somewhere. Darn it. I wish I knew what I did with it. It's around somewhere. I'll have to find it later. I am not having the best of luck finding it. I have like several places that I have knives kind of piled all over. I normally keep them in the case. I have a few in displays. And a lot of times I'll have a bunch sitting on my desk, sitting in leather slips. Like, I'm just gonna grab a handful. They sit in leather slips, so that way I can quickly grab them and go. And the green apple's around here somewhere. I just can't remember where. Or it's in another pile. Ugh. But yeah, if you have any questions, feel free and ask. I love sharing this stuff. Or if you got, if you're into case knives, what's your favorite case? If you're into modern knives, what's your favorite modern knife? I have a hard time picking out favorites, because when I'm looking at knives, simply because, like I said, I'm not rich. I don't make a ton of money. And a lot of times I'm sacrificing certain things in order to get like a new knife or whatever. So I do a lot of research and reading and all that stuff. And I'm not going to buy a knife that I don't think is going to be a favorite. Like, I'm going to buy a knife that I'm going to like. I'm not going to buy a knife that I don't think I'm going to like. So when it comes to like picking out favorites, I mean, it's easy the easiest way to put it is all my knives are my favorites. There's very few knives that I have that are like, sometimes I'll buy a knife on a whim because, I'm interested, or like I've never owned one, I'll want to check them out. But even then I'm doing research because I don't want to spend a lot of money on something that's just going to be junk. So a lot of my knives kind of are favorites. Like I got a lot of Remets, I've got a lot of Civivi, Kaiser, QSP, Concept, in no particular order. Okay, let's see where we're at there. That should have cooled off. Yeah, okay. So we're good. We're going to flip this over. We are going to start and try to match the other side. I can still feel it's a little warm. But that's looking pretty good. Now, it's really dull. It's lost a lot of its shine in comparison to the other side, as you can see there. It's lost a lot of its shine. This almost looks like a lizard skin. Almost. I know the lizard skin is a different jigging and stuff, but I think that looks pretty cool. Now we're going to start on the other side and try to kind of match. Do I want to start? Well, hold on. Let me even out. So I noticed I'd like to even out this side a little bit more. Okay. Now I have to cool that down again. I just noticed the edge on that side was considerably lighter. Okay. We'll let that cool down a little bit more again. Where are we at? Yep. We have to let that cool. But yeah, if you have any questions, feel free and ask. I love talking about this stuff. But yeah, most of my knives are favorites. It's kind of hard to pick out a singular favorite. I mean, I do have my favorites kind of shift. What a knife that might be like my current, like my favorite for that month might change the next month. So yeah, if I were to pick an individual, it's really hard to pick individuals. I would say probably the knives, some of my more expensive knives tend to be from Remet. I've liked a lot of their premium offerings. Have been really, really nice. I've been getting a lot of Spyderco lately. As far as the modern ones are concerned. As far as traditionals, I'm always going to love Case. However, I've been having a really good time with getting some of the new Rosecraft knives. I know they dropped a new one just recently from Rosecraft that was in D2 steel. I prefer the 14C28N steel, so I haven't picked up the latest one. But the knives that they've been coming out this year that I have picked up have been absolute awesomeness. Super clean, super sharp out of the box, and really, really cool. But I will be right back. We're going to let that cool. I just got to hit the washroom real quick, and then we'll see about doing the other side. So I will be right back. All right, I'm back. Let's see how well this one has cooled off. And let's see.
Just making sure my hands are nice and dry because I don't want to introduce any water or moisture onto the knife. Ow. Okay. Let's make sure we've cooled off. Yeah, there we go. Nicely cooled off. I'm pretty sure I'm satisfied with that side, so we're going to start on the other one. And we're going to try to match that up. Now I'm going to start on the bolster side. Add a little toast there. Then we're going to go around the edges. I'm being a little bit more aggressive. We got to watch that. We got to watch that heat. Okay, we're going to let it cool off a little bit. Now, one thing I've noticed when I've been toasting knives is I've noticed when I go to the other side, like I'll toast one side and then I'll move to the other side. The other side seems to toast faster, and I think it's because the heat that the knife ends up getting when I'm toasting that one side. I think it makes it so that when I go to toast the other one, it just darkens so much quicker. Now, I don't know if that's it, or at least it seems like it toasts a lot quicker. So I've got to be a little bit more careful and conscious of the temp on this one, because again, I'm trying to stay roughly around. I don't want to. I try not to get higher than 150 degrees. Definitely don't want to go over 200. And this is a decent. This bone isn't super thin. It's not super thick either, though, so I got to be really careful. I don't want it to crack or anything like that. Let it cool off a little bit more. And then we'll continue. All right. Where are we at? I want to hit it. I want to see it go under 100 degrees before I try to start burning it again. And see how that goes. Not looking too shabby, though. I was surprised because that other one that I showed, that blue bone that Texan Knives did, nearly all the color disappeared from it, and so I was kind of surprised. It still looks neat. Now they did go really, really dark with theirs. I'm doing more of, I guess you could say I'm kind of trying to highlight the jigging. But I'm a little nervous about heating it up too much. I could go darker, and I could probably get rid of the majority of that color, but I want to kind of keep the green. Or as much of the green as possible, anyway. Okay, that should have cooled off enough. We're going to continue on. I'm still seeing... Oh, really? I'm still seeing about 100 degrees. I was kind of hoping to be a little less. This is retaining its heat pretty well. There we go. Well, we'll give it a few more minutes and see how it goes. And then we'll continue on with the burn. Otherwise, if you guys have any favorites, let me know. I'd like to hear. This is how, like, again, this is how I discover new knives. A lot of times I've never heard of a certain manufacturer until somebody mentions that on a live. And I just think it's really cool. And has anybody been to Blade Show Atlanta? I wish I could go. I'd love to be able to travel to Blade Show. Unfortunately, I am a caregiver, though, so unfortunately I don't
get out a whole lot, and it's hard for me to get out and travel or do anything like that. So I miss out a bit on the blade shows, but it's really neat to see some of the other streamers and other people in the YouTube knife community hit blade show and stuff like that. Get to see all the neat new stuff. It's probably a good thing I don't go when I think about it, considering how much money I put down on knives. I don't know if I'd be able to last an entire weekend at a blade show. I would probably go broke the very first night, which wouldn't be good in terms of probably like lodging or getting food. Okay, yeah, under 100. We're going to continue on. I wasn't kidding when I say that it smells tasty. And the fan that I have is admittedly blowing the smoke in my face. But the bone does smell pretty darn good. Okay, let's see where we're at. 125, 135, 140. All right. I'm going to have to slow down a little bit on this one because I have a feeling a lot of that heat is also being retained by the tin. I do these burnings on a tin to help dissipate the heat and protect my table. But I can feel it's pretty warm. We'll let that sit for a little while. And I was talking about Blade Show Atlanta. I haven't watched much this time around yet. I know a lot of people are like editing their stuff and whatever, but I can't wait to check out a lot of the new videos and streams from this last Blade Show. I'm kind of jealous. There was a lot of neat new stuff I know that came out. A lot of people were grabbing, like I said, SMKW had brought a lot of the PB&Js, what they had left, I guess, for Blade Show, and same I think with the Sea Dragons, because I've seen a lot of people with pictures of new PBJs from Blade Show. Not that I need another one, but it wouldn't hurt. Would have been nice. I wonder how hard it was to get one of those at Blade Show. Okay. Let's see where we're at now. 150. Okay, let that cool off again. Yeah, I don't want to do it too quickly. Last thing I need is for it to crack. And so far, we're doing pretty good on that. I'm not seeing any cracking. Yeah. Now, one thing I noticed on this side of the Barlow, the jigging doesn't come up to as fine a ridge point as the shield side. So I don't know how this side's going to turn out. Again, I don't want to overdo it. I do want to keep a lot of that green dye color. So we'll see how that goes. Where are we at now? We are at, let's drop to about 116. Looks like a high, or no, that was a 10 I was looking at. About 100 still. I'm gonna watch where I'm aiming this laser, because I think I'm getting some of the readings off the 10. That's about 105 where I have it aimed at right now. So I'm going to see if I can wait till that gets down below 100, and then we'll continue on. I don't know. What do you guys think so far? Let me know what you guys think.
Okay. Where are we at? Right at 100 and dropping. Yeah, we're out below 100 now. Yeah, what was that? Oh, delivery notification for next week. Uh-oh. Okay, now I got the edges about to where I want them, because aside from this side, where are we at here? Okay, so I got the edges to where I want them. I'm going to start working on the center jigging. Once this cools down, give it some time. We'll see how that goes. Excuse me. Me and my cough today. Granted, I am sort of breathing in burnt bone fumes. I've got fans going on. I've got pretty good circulation here, so granted, it doesn't help that my face is into it, but it smells good. Makes me hungry. I had a pretty big lunch. It still makes me hungry. A little bit of coffee. All right. Let's see where we're at temp-wise. It does drop pretty rapidly. We're still a little over 100 and dropping. Now, oddly enough, right by the bolster, it's currently at its highest at about 120. So that part is retaining quite a bit of heat. And I don't know if it's because it's over by, where it is on the tin. We'll move it out. I know the tin feels a little warm. Not hot, but just warm. Ooh, that blade was sharp. So we're going to have to give that a few more minutes before we continue with the burn. And I don't know what the hell. What is shipping over here? But something apparently is shipped. Wow. Something is moving really fast towards us. And I don't know from who. Oh, okay. I know who that's from. Great. Awesome. Like I said, I got a new knife coming in next week. I got a couple new knives coming in next week. So next week should be pretty interesting. Because there's been a lot of sales going on from various retailers, especially due to Father's Day coming up. So a lot of retailers having nice sales. So now's the time to take advantage of some of those sales. I know, like nearly every retailer's have got some Father's Day sale going on. I believe. I did remember like Knife Center has something going on with Spyderco. I don't know if it's still going on with Spyderco or if that ended. And I think Hogue and
I forget what else. I think zero tolerance might have been part of it. I don't know if it's still going on or not, though. Okay, we're going to continue on with this toasting here. We're going to go for the ridges now on the jigging. Now, the ridges aren't as, like I said, defined as the other side. So that one went a little dark. That's fine. Okay, I gotta be careful again. The tap, as you can see they're a little flatter. The ridges aren't as sharp as the other side. So I was worried that I was gonna get rid of too much of the green, but it looks like it's going up. Those ridges are toasting pretty nicely and not affecting the green as much as I thought. So I'm liking how this is turning out. This is turning out even better than I expected. Again, a lot of this is experimentation. A lot of this is, you kind of picture it in your head. And, after having toasted a few knives, after having burnt a few knives, you can kind of get an idea. But it does get kind of scary when you're dealing with a color that you're not, this isn't the first green that I've toasted. Like I said, I've toasted some green apples that I thought came out really well. But this is the first gator jig bone that I did. So I kind of wasn't sure how it was going to come out. Like I said, I was worried that I would lose all the green, and that's not happening. So that's really nice. Where are we at now? I know it doesn't take too long to cool down. But we are just over 100 degrees. I think 100, yeah, about 100 and going. I'm going to wait till it gets a little lower. Probably around 90 degrees, and then we'll go again. Lonnie, how you doing? Hope you're having a good one. Excuse me. I am sitting here birding a knife. See how this comes out. Chicken fried steak. How are you doing? Welcome to the stream. Glad to see you. This is turning out pretty darn nice. Now it should be under 100. Okay, so we're about 90. Trying just to get those ridges a little darker. Trying not to breathe in too much of the burning bone, but admittedly not really caring and really enjoying it. Let's see how we're doing here. Temp-wise, 150. Okay, we're going to let that cool down a little bit more. Coming along nicely, in my opinion. Now, I want to hit it from this side a little bit. Going from this direction to highlight those ridges again a little bit more. Otherwise, we're almost done with this. This is coming out pretty well. Lonnie, were you carrying anything today? Chicken fried steak, what were you carrying today? Were you carrying anything? I just like holding this chat. I was worried because I was running into so many issues when I first started the stream today. And I almost canceled today's. But I think I figured out what was going on. I think with the new phone that I got, I think it was trying to capture stuff at a much higher quality than the connection to my PC and everything could handle, which was causing a lot of freezes and like black screens. So I toned things down a bit and it seems to be working much better. Let's see what this is now. We are under, nope, we're still just a hair over 100. That's fine. We'll let it cool down. I let it cool down slowly because I don't want too rapid of a cooldown. Otherwise, there's a good chance that those scales can crack. Spyderco CPM M4 Mannix, lightweight Mannix. Nice. Oh, you got, and with new scale. Oh, chicken fried steak. Go check. I have a Discord. The link should be in the description. I have a Discord. Go join it. I want to see pictures. Oh, and a SMKW limited edition donut Victorinox Tinker. Say that. You know, the worst. In my opinion, the worst happened to be Case when it comes to names. Like this one is called the Bright Green Bone Gator Jig Barlow. That one's not bad. Where's my box of Case knives? I mean, when you when you look at some of the names that the Case knives have, they get redonkulous. I forgot. Oops, hit my table. I forgot what I was like looking for the longest Case knife name. And wait, what do I have in my collection? What's this one? This one has a few lines. Okay. Pocket worn mahogany bone peach sig jig case axe handle. Say that one like 3 times fast. Donut Victor. Now I've got to look at the Donut Victorinox because I was just saying one of the things I was carrying in my pocket the last couple of days was the SMKW limited edition PB&J. I can't remember what model Victorinox this is. I think this might be a Tinker. I can't remember. I'm not familiar with the names because I don't really collect Victorinox knives. In fact, this one, and I got both sizes that they had. Here's the other size, the smaller one. These were probably the first 2 Victorinox knives or Swiss Army knives I've had in decades. In decades. And these were on sale. Oh, you were going to order that this weekend? Oh, no worries, chicken fried. Yeah, these were on, when I got these, I don't know if they're still on sale, but when I got these, they were on sale. They weren't that expensive because on sale, this one was $25 and this one was $20. And I think when they weren't on sale, they were like $30 and $25 respectively. So they were pretty inexpensive. And I mean, PB&J, why not? Although I get a kick out of it because unlike their other PB&J knives, it's like a photo of a PB&J sandwich as opposed to just the colors, which I thought was hilarious. But I don't know about the donut. I don't think I've seen the donut. SMKW. Oh, don't make me buy another knife like right. I've already bought a knife. I think on the last 2 lives I was on, I bought a knife while I was live because I have no willpower whatsoever. I'm on their site now. Let's see here. How am I going to search this? Special exclusives. Let's go exclusives. And donut, because I don't recall seeing the donuts. I don't know. Have the donuts been out for a while? Oh. There's some new stuff I haven't seen in a bit. Or at all. I'm not. Oh, okay. So the one that I have is a Tinker. And then I don't know what the smaller one is. The smaller one is I have no idea. Logfather. I don't see the donut. Might be gone now. Has it been out for a while? Poop. I would have loved to have seen it. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. Or hold on, maybe I can. I'm kind of looking at all their exclusives. Maybe if I cut this down to, let's see here, Tinker.
cut it down to tinker. That helps. They have, well, again, SMKW has a lot of exclusive Victorinox, though. They have a watermelon one. If you like a watermelon one, they have a ton of, wow, they have a lot of exclusives with Victorinox. I didn't realize they had this many exclusives with them. They have a crazy amount. They even have a candy cane one. That's nuts. Yeah, I don't see the donut. Oh, wait, no, found it. Is it donut? Yeah, $25 donuts. Tinker Swiss Army knife donut. Oh, is it still available? Crap, damn it. I don't need to get another. Not right now. Oh, the smaller one's a classic SD. Okay. Yeah, I'm not that familiar with Victorinox. Those were like the two. Those two Swiss Army knives were like the first Swiss Army knives I've had in like literal decades. I might have had a knockoff when I was a kid. Maybe I might have, but I honestly can't remember. Oh, it's got sprinkles on it for $25, and it's in stock. Don't want to. Maybe I'll add it to a future, or I don't know. Maybe I'll add it to a future order. Okay. Let's concentrate on this before I end up. I just ordered a knife a little while ago from Knife Center, and I'll do a video on that one in the upcoming week as soon as I get it. I think I'm supposed to get it next week. I'm pretty sure I will get it next week. It's not a thing. And then I'll do a video on that, and I'll show you guys on next Saturday's live if you don't catch the video. But I did order something from Knife Center, and I think it's really cool. It's one that I've been trying to, or thinking about getting a hold of, and they happen to have it on sale. The backside is one big donut. Oh, now I gotta look at it again. The backside is one big donut. Oh my God, it is. It's one. So I might have accidentally added it to my cart. Let's not. It's in my cart. We're just gonna leave it at that. What's my most expensive knife in my collection? Ugh, that's hard to say. That might be a little hard to say, only because a lot of times I'm a deal shopper. I'm not rich. Okay, so I'm counting my pennies, and a lot of times what comes off on retail, I dig around for the either on Whatnot or on I wait for some massive sales and stuff like that. And I generally don't buy anything over $300 because that to me is like, oh my God, expensive. And I know there's a lot of people. I know people that carry a $600 knife with them wherever they go. I couldn't do that only because I would be freaked out if something were to happen to that knife. Like I would, I could get a $600 knife, but if something were to happen, the idea of having to replace that $600 knife would make my head spin. I have a hard time spending I guess the average price of the knives I get, if you really were to look, was probably around like $150. But I try not to go over 300. The closest I have, if you were to say, as far as traditional knives, we'll start with traditional because I happen to have that box in front of me. The most expensive traditional knife I have would probably be this one. I know retail around the $220, $250 range, and this is a case knife. This is my most expensive. Well, no, actually, this wouldn't be. This is close, and there's a reason. This one is a mini trapper. This is called was it double cut? Burnt goldenrod. Yeah, burnt goldenrod second cut jig mini trapper. And it's a mini trapper. Just a little smaller than your regular size trapper. This one is in Damascus steel. As you can see, a raindrop pattern Damascus, which tends to make them really, really pricey. And the burnt goldenrod.
with a scroll badge. Nice toast on that. And this one, now, like I said, this one I probably got for just over $200, which makes this probably one of my most expensive traditional knives. I think the most expensive traditional knife I got was, we were just talking about something like this earlier. Now I'm going to have to go dig for it. The most expensive traditional knife I have is also a case, but it's expensive for another reason. And that reason being, it's I had to hunt this one down. Okay, I found it. I didn't show it earlier because I thought I had it in a different box, but turns out it was a lot closer than I thought. This one is expensive because I hunted this down, and somebody, it was Mike. It's Mike from Chasing Blades. It was in his personal collection. I talked him into selling it to me. The reason why is because this knife was born the same year I was. And so this one is a case. It's a two-bladed hunter. I forget what kind of wood this is, but I picked this up because this was born or made the same year that I was born. And I like to make a game out of this. If you want to know when that was, if you know anything about case knives, let me clean that up a little bit. If you want to know what year that was, you can decipher that if you know case knives at all. There's a way to tell by looking at that, and that'll tell you what year I was born. Now, I wasn't born the same day and year. That would be nearly impossible for me to find. But I was born the same year. And this one cost me, if I remember correctly, close to around $250. So I call that a special case because that was not your typical, like, when you're hunting down a case knife, I guess. Otherwise, this would probably be my most expensive case knife, is this burnt goldenrod. Really, really awesome knife. I love it to death. Let's wrap that back up. Now, I don't have this one on display yet because I'm trying to hunt down more displays. So as of right now, it still sits in its box until I can get a proper display for it. And there we go. Now, if you were talking modern knives, my most expensive knives, I have a couple that are roughly around, I think they were getting close to 300, and they were both Romettes. I can't remember the exact. I'll have to take a look. Hold on, to see what exactly, which one was which. Because there's 3 Romette knives in my collection that are probably my most expensive modern ones. I just can't remember in which order. Where are we looking at? Darn it. I need Romette to list their stuff a little differently. Home shop. There we go. Oh, they got some new. Okay, well, this was a mistake to look at their website, because now I'm seeing some pretty things that I really do not need to. But close, chicken. You're off a little bit. Let's see. Those were, how much were those? Nope. $259. Okay, so that one, $250. Okay, I'm just gonna pull them out. These knives were roughly about $250. Now when I got them, I got deals on them. So did I pay that amount? Not really. But if you were to go anywhere else, they're going to be roughly around, now give or take, because these are all different models, roughly around $250. But these would be the most expensive knives that I have in my modern collection. And what we have here is we have the Romette Two-Face, titanium, M390. They call it the two-face. You've got two different grinds on the blade, and also you could switch this from a front flipper or a rear flipper. I have it changed to a front flipper, but that little flipper that you have here, you can, originally it came back here, and it was a rear flipper, but you can take it off and you can put it up there and have it as a front flipper. I like it as a front flipper because it has, it kind of like makes it a nice and sleekly lined knife. You know, I don't have anything jutting out, like a little horn here jutting out. So nice clean line there. And same with when it's open, there's no like little finger guard from the flipper poking out on this side. So that's why I have it set the way I do. But that is the two-face from Remet. The other one, I have a lot more expensive knives than I thought. The other one, this is the Remet Woodpecker. This one's really cool. You got crystallized titanium and M390 steel. The neat thing about this one, though, is you'll notice there's no screws, no pivot visible on the knife itself that you typically see on other knives, like the screws here, the pivot. And that's because it's all hidden underneath the scale. There's a little button right here that if you press down, you can pop the scale off, and then now you have your pivot, you have your screws if you want to take it apart, all hidden underneath the scale. And the scale is keyed, so once you want to slide it back on, it snaps in place. And they have it done so well, there's no movement. Like, you can't move that scale. It is nice and solid, like no movement whatsoever. And just a really, really cool knife, in my opinion. This one between $250 again. My more recent acquirements were these three. And we'll start with this. We'll start with this one. This is probably one of my favorite knives in my collection. This is the Remet Steed. Just a beautiful, beautiful knife. Titanium. Again, I believe this is an M390 steel. And cool thing about this is a frame lock knife, but it's a button activated frame lock. So you can use the button to close the knife, or you can still use that frame lock and just push it off to the side with your thumb. Just a real slick looking knife though. Love this thing. I mean, this is one of my favorite knives, admittedly, in terms of just how nice of a knife and how beautiful it is. I do believe I got it just this year. This was one for 2026, I believe, earlier this year. Probably one of my favorite knives this year. This one is called the Remet Infinite Power. Again, titanium, except you got the flamed tiger stripe titanium. Dagger style blade, although it's only single edged, so only one edge is sharpened. This one has a pivot button lock. That's I'm sorry, it's a button activated, like kind of like a nested liner lock. So again, you can press the button on the pivot to close the blade, or you still have that liner lock there that can move off to the side and then close. Just an interesting design. I thought it was really, really neat. And you've got, again, the flame titanium and crystallized titanium accent around the pivot. Again, M390 steel. Really, really pretty cool. And then we have this one. Oh, no, this one was less. I'm sorry, this wasn't one of my more expensive ones. This one's a Remet, but this one's 14C28N. And actually, this was under $100, so this doesn't count. I think I pulled it out because I thought it was pricey. It looks pricey. It's my only gravity knife that I have from Remet. They do have a premium version that's pretty expensive, but this one was the lesser expensive 14C28N steel version. Those run probably about, like, I think that one ran under $100. But everything else other than that one gravity knife, those are probably my most expensive knives in my collection as of to date. So yeah, and again, they're roughly around $250 retail. Some of them get close to around $300, but again, I tend to bargain hunt.
So if I'm lucky, I remember the woodpecker. I might have got like $40 or $50 off when I picked it up for that woodpecker, the crystallized titanium without with the hidden screws and stuff. Kind of forgot about this knife here. This cooled off for a while. This should be room temperature at this point. Yes, it is room temperature. So we're going to continue to finish toasting this one. I'm hitting it from the other side to help define these ridges a little bit more. There we go. Actually, that might be right where I want it. Okay, what are we at temperature-wise? I don't want to do too much. Okay, we hit like 1. Ooh, we got really close. We'll let that cool down. I don't want it to crack. So we'll let that cool down. And we got a bit of a really dark burn on that side. Okay, there we go. So we're going to let that cool rest. I think we're good on that side. Got some nice definition. I'm just trying to be really careful that it doesn't crack. And I think we're good. I just got to let that cool on its own. And there we go. But yeah, those are probably my most expensive ones that I just showed you. For me, though, cost isn't like what I look for. Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, cost is a factor because, you know, if it's something I can afford or not. But that's almost secondary. I collect knives because I enjoy collecting them. I can appreciate the aesthetics of a very well-made knife, as well as appreciate the functionality of a more plain-looking, hard-to-use knife. I just I like collecting knives. I think they're great tools, and I can appreciate the art or the artistry in a lot of the prettier looking ones, I guess you can say. Oh, did that cool down really fast? Because that's weird. It was just at like 200 before, and it's already down to under 100. How is that possible? I'm going to take a little closer look at the knife. Just make sure I didn't do anything that cracked it. I do have a really toasty bit. I think we're good. Let's see this side. That cooled off a lot faster than I thought. Oh, you know what? I hear the air conditioner running. That might be why. Gotta be a little careful with that. But I think we're just about done. I'm just taking a close look at both sides. And then all that I need to do is give this a nice polish. Just taking a look at both sides, make sure it's nice and even on the edges. I think this one could use a little bit more. Okay. Let that cool down again. Now, you were close, Chicken Fried. You're off a little bit. But good shot. Good shot at it. You know, I don't hide my I don't intentionally hide my age, but I forgot what happened. I have a gaming channel, and a lot of people were asking, and it just ended up turning into a game to the point of where I just stopped answering and let people speculate. If somebody gets it right, I'll let them know. But yeah, I guess it just ended up turning into some sort of game, and then I've been having fun with it ever since. All right, so
we're getting close to finishing this one, and then again, I just need to give it a good polish. Just to make sure it's going to be at a temp that is going to be easy to handle. And I see the hottest point is at about 90 degrees, so we should be fine. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to polish it up, clean it up, oil it, because when I was doing this, if there was any oil that was left on the knife, it's probably pretty much burned away. Then we'll test functionality, make sure the springs are still nice and strong. But it looks like we might be okay. We're still at just around 90 degrees. We'll give that a few more, like another minute or two, and then we'll polish it up and see how it looks. Where's my sunshine? There you are. My sunshine cloth. Microfiber cloth. And there we go. Now, should be able to handle this without burning my fingertips off. A little warm to the touch. Now, at this point, I'm just going to give it a once-over, see if there's anything I feel I might have missed. Anything I think I feel like I can touch up. But it's looking pretty good. I don't want to go too dark. Because like I said, part of what I want to do is try to maintain the green color of the, of the scales. So I think that's just right where I want it. Now it's possible I might need to do it a little bit more, because I know you generally can't go lighter, but sometimes when you polish, and I'm using a sunshine cloth, which is like a jeweler's cloth, there's a very, very mild abrasive that's impregnated within this cloth. Great for polishing jewelry. Provided it's not just plastic metal, like plastic costume jewelry made to look like a precious metal. This will rub that coating right off, and you'll end up with just plastic looking jewelry. But it's great for polishing anything metal, like knives, things like that. And it'll put a nice sheen, even on bone. It'll put a nice sheen on the bone. And let's see here. Looking good. No cracks on the pins anywhere. That's probably my biggest worry, is that I'll end up heating it too fast or cooling it off too fast. So you end up with a pin crack. But it's looking awesome. And just polishing this up. Sometimes it'll lighten up some of the burn. But yeah, this is nice and dark. Let's see here. And then this is where I go about and see if I want to do anything different. Like, give it another toast with it, or another hit with a torch. But I think that's where I'm going to keep it. Ground Fog, how you doing? Hey, Terry. That's looking pretty good. That came out a lot better than even I thought or imagined it was going to look. Now, you can see how the ridges on this side are a little bit more defined than on this side. They're a little flatter. But I don't want to go too dark on this side. But because they're a little flatter on this side, I run the risk, like if I wanted to make these ridges darker, I run the risk of losing a lot of the green in between. And I want to keep that. So I don't think I'm going to do any more on that side. I think it looks really nice. And this was originally a Green Gator Jig. Now, this was new for this year. This color, this Gator Jig was new for this year. I just had to try it with a toast to see how it would come out. That looks fantastic. I like it. And sometimes it's a risk. Some people don't like them when you burn them. I like to experiment sometimes. I really, really wanted to see how this green jig would come out with a toast to it. And it's actually exceeded what how I thought it was going to come out. I wasn't sure. And now I'm really glad I did it. kind of looks like another type of lizard skin. I know a lizard skin is something that's the Shepherd Hills is an exclusive with Shepherd Hills. It's a different jigging, but it's generally like a bright green bone that's then toasted, kind of like what I did here, just a different style of jigging. I have a lizard skin. Hold on. We can compare it if I can find it. The Case X. Do I have that lizard skin? Green apple bone. It might be a little hard to find because I don't exactly have. I probably need to work on how I categorize my. Oh, here it is. Yeah, the lizard skin, again, exclusive to Shepherd Hills. It's a bright green bone, but it's a corn cob jig, where this is called a gator jig. And you'll see what I mean in a moment. A jigging is the texture that they kind of carve into the side of the bone, and they all have different names. Here it is. This is a Shepherd Hills lizard skin. It's their exclusive. Then here's my gator jig. So yeah, kind of, it looks like a lizard skin, just a different jigging. So pretty cool. Call buddy, how you doing? Bought a prototype K-bar with aluminum handle. One of a kind. Looks nice. Oh, cool. Did you put that on Discord? I know you like to put a whole bunch of pictures on Discord. But yeah, that's what a lizard skin looks like. I thought that's pretty darn close. Just a different jig. That's really neat because I really like the lizard skin. I think they look cool. That came out really nice. There's another one that I don't have a display for yet. I really need new displays. Displays are surprisingly expensive. Oh my god. It gets down to the point of like, do I want to spend like $80 to $150 per display, or just buy another knife? Usually buying another knife wins out. Now I have a bunch of knives that I don't have displays for, so they end up sitting in a shoebox. There we go. But that was a lizard skin from Shepherd Hills. They're exclusive, and this looks really close to it. That looks neat. I am liking the look of this. Give it one last rub down on the sunshine cloth. Make sure I get it in the entire surface here, the back and the sides. Give it a nice sheen. That's looking gorgeous. That came out really well. At least to me. All right, I'll check them out as soon as I'm done here. Okay, no. So the next step is we're going to do some testing. We're going to remove the tape and carefully close these, because when I first got this, it had a really nice snap. Now, one of the worries, and again, the reason why I watch the temperatures on when I'm doing a toast is if you run it too hot, there's also a chance you can affect the spring. And now we got a nice half stop there. Still felt nice and strong. And there was only one knife that I really like. One of my first knives that I did, I might have heated it up too much, and it seems to affect the spring where it can weaken it a little bit. Now, since then, I've been really careful about my temperatures and where I hit it with the torch. So I haven't run into any problems, but I always like to check. Really good snap on there. Let's take a look at this one. Remove the tape. So that secondary blade still had a really nice snap to it. Let's take a look at this one. Really nice snap on the main. Really nice on the half stop. Same with the open. Awesome. Frickin' awesome. That came out so nice. Let me go ahead and grab my oil. And we're going to give this a quick clean like I always do. And see how this goes. Lonnie, 1973 case, USA with the 7 dots. You got it. Lonnie got it. I told you I'd tell you if you were right. Yeah, that one I just showed. Where did I put it? I put it away already. Oh God, what did I just drop? I dropped something. Something fell. Mayday, mayday. What was that? I have no idea. Whoops. I don't know what that was. Anyway, hopefully it wasn't something expensive. So this one we were looking at, born in the same year that I was born. Lonnie got it right. Lonnie apparently was spending a lot of time digging around and learning how to read a case knife. But there you go. Good job, Lonnie. Now, can you keep that a secret and let other people try to figure it out? Okay. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to clean this knife off. I'll just keep using the tin. And what I like to do is this. Let me grab. There we are. And get it. These are like micro brushes. A lot of people use these for makeup. I use these to clean out knives. I think they're super handy. You can get a ton of them for very little on Amazon. I think they're called micro brushes or something. I can't remember. Micro swabs. Either way, you can get a ton of them. Like I had a pack of 500 for like $10 or $12, something like that. And they're great for like, especially with traditional knives. Sometimes they can be pretty gunky, even right out of the box. Case knives tend to be relatively clean. On average, they're like some of my cleaner knives when I get them. And I say on average because I know there were a couple cases where they had the most gunk out of any other knife that I've had. But normally they're pretty clean. Rough Rider on average tends to be a lot dirtier, and same with Frost. Even those tend to be even more nasty sometimes, even right out of the box. And a lot of it is just stuff from machining that doesn't get cleaned out for whatever reason. So anytime I get a new traditional knife, I go through this round of oiling and cleaning. And what I have here, this is camellia oil. This is a Japanese knife oil. I'll use either this. A lot of times I'll use this for my traditional knives because it's inexpensive in comparison to some other oils. If I have a modern knife, I don't really need to clean them so much, but I'll use something like KPL for the pivot. This is a knife pivot lube, and I'll put that on the pivot in my more modern knives. But since we're dealing with a traditional knife, I'll use my camellia oil. And what I'll do is I'll put, while it's closed, I'll put a little bit down into the pivot area. And then I'll take one of my micro brushes and I will just run it over the surfaces inside that pivot that I can reach. And clean off any gunk that's in there. And as you can see, that brush got pretty dark. There's a bit of gunk in there. And even the case knives you can get, some, like I said, sometimes you can, there can be quite a bit of gunk there. And then I'll take an older, if I've got like a microfiber cloth that's getting kind of torn up, which I thought I had nearby, but apparently I moved it. Where did I put one? I had an older one around here somewhere. I keep tossing these microfiber cloths all over the place. And, oh, here's a torn. Okay, this is not microfiber, but this cloth is all torn up. A lot of times I'll go and just clean off the dirt and oil off the swab to see how dirty it was. And then get back to it and remove as much excess oil as I can from that pivot. There we go. Searched one home was a Nazi World War II unit edge
brand Solingen, made in Germany. Solingen knife. You were spending time to look how to read a case knife. Like I said, it's not a secret. It just, I don't know, it just turned into a game. I don't even remember when it turned into a game. I just found it funny, and then people trying to guess. And it was like, okay, you guys want to guess? Go for it. And yeah, it just turned into a thing. All right, so now that we've cleaned that pivot area, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the knife. And what I'll do is I'll open it up. Now, this has a midpoint. Okay, there's a lot of cases that don't have a mid stop, but if it has a mid stop, usually what I'll do is I'll open it up a little bit more, and you'll see what happens is it exposes part of the spring, as you can see there. That's the spring that holds the knife in certain positions, and then I'll run a brush along the exposed area of that spring. If there was any gunk in there. So clean that off. Usually there's not much in there. Then I'll open it fully. And then what I'll do is, in this case, this knife has a well. That's called a well for each of its blades. In some cases, blades might share a well. But what I'll do is then I'll take a little bit of the oil and I'll pour a couple drops down into the well. And then I'll let that oil run down, and then I'll take that brush and I'll kind of like push that excess oil down to the bottom, and then wipe the brush all along the inside to get any residue, any dirt that might be in there. And then I'll probably use a new one. I'll wipe up as much of that excess oil that I can. It's going to seep into or around the spring and help keep that area lubricated, as well as I forgot the word I was looking for. It'll keep it well lubricated. There we go. And help reduce a little bit of the wear and tear that might occur. Not that there's a lot with this, but there we go. I'll just keep wiping it down, and then I'll use the cloth to soak up any oil from the brush. And I'll just keep wiping downward until I've removed a majority of that oil that I poured in there. And once I see that it's not pooling anywhere, we'll move on to the next blade. So then I'll check functionality again, see how the snap is. Nice, good snap. A lot of times also, if you realize like your case doesn't have, or your traditional doesn't have a very good snap, like it might be a little slow or a little gritty, doing this will improve the snap of that knife. So works really nice. We're going to go ahead and do the second one now. So we're going to open this a little bit more to expose the spring. And then we'll wipe along this side of the spring, make sure there's no debris there. Then open it fully. There you go. Then on that well, do the same exact thing. We'll pour a little bit of oil into that well, and then just brush it down and clear any gunk that might be there. You get like 6 knives on Monday? Holy cow. I used to buy a lot. There's been a few times where I've had a lot of knives come in because, admittedly, like I said, I have no willpower. But I got into a racing game, and I decided I really wanted a racing wheel. And so I decided I'd pick up a racing wheel. Those tend to be pretty expensive. And then on top of that, I ended up having some medical bills I needed to deal with. So
my knife purchasing has slowed down somewhat considerably. If you look at some of the past lives that I've done, there have been a few occasions where I've had a lot of knives coming in 1 week, but I've had to slow that down. Like I said, I have bills to pay and I like to eat, so it might pick up again. Like I said, I do have a few knives coming in this upcoming week. Thankfully, there were some sales because of Father's Day, and I've got some cool stuff. So it'll be fun next week. Do more show and tell. All right, so wiping out as much of that oil again as possible. And it looks like I got pretty much all of it. I don't see it pooling anywhere, so that's good. All right. And then what I didn't do is wipe the blade down. We'll test that blade. Awesome snap. And then what I'm looking for also when I snap the blade down is making sure that the blade is not slapping against the spring. Nice strong. If you got a nice strong spring, you generally don't run into any problems. If you have a weakened spring or just a badly shaped, I guess you can call that a tang on the blade, what can happen is the edge can slap against the spring and you end up with a dull spot. Case is really good with that. I've had, like, out of all the case knives I had, I think I had maybe had one with a weak spring. Other manufacturers, it'll vary. Like a lot of times it'll happen with really, really cheap knives where the spring isn't as good as it should be, and then you go snap the blade shut, the edge slaps against the spring, and then you end up with a dull spot that you then have to either hone, or in worst case scenario, reprofile to get that dull spot out. But this one's nice. Doesn't hit the spring. And there we go. Polished up, oiled. All that's left to do now is, because I did pour oil down that well, some of it is going to seep out the back. You can see some oil there already. Like, I can wipe this down and then the oil will continue to seep out a little bit. You know, what I couldn't get with the brush. So what I'll do is then I'll lay this down on a towel like I did and let that sit there for a little bit. And that'll soak up any excess oil that's seeping out from the spring area. And it'll just be a few, leave it there for a little bit. Oh, have a good one, Lonnie. Thanks for coming by. Enjoy the rest of your weekend if I don't see you. Okay, I'm going to take this time real quick to hit the washroom one more time because I've been drinking a crap ton of coffee. If you haven't, be sure to hydrate. And I'll be right back. Just make sure I turn my microphone off so you don't hear anything weird. Alrighty, and I'm back. And oh my god, I see what fell. I almost stepped on it. That wouldn't have been good. Okay.
Insert Jeopardy theme song. All right, so now that we finished with that, let's take a look at that other jig bone. Now, the reason why I wanted to toast this one was because, like I said, I got a knife from Chasing Blades, one of their collaborations with Texan Knives. And the knife I got, it's kind of a one-off, but it was a jig blue bone that they decided to toast, and it looked like that. Now, they toasted theirs really dark, as you can see. And they got rid of a lot of blue. Originally, that's what the sides looked like, was a blue bone. But they toasted it super dark to the point of where a lot of that dye kind of disappeared. Now, I do like the look of this. I think this looks fantastic. But that's part of the reason why I wanted to try my hand at doing my own, was because I really liked the way it looked. And then as I was doing it, I realized I liked to keep a lot of the green that was still on there, so I didn't do it as dark. And I think I'm really happy with how that turned out by keeping a lot of that green, highlighting the ridges on the jigging. And like I said, it kind of resembles the lizard skin from Shepherd Hills. I think this looks fantastic. So I'm going to keep it where it's at. I was debating doing it this dark, but I think I'm going to keep it the way it is. But that's what got my interest in wanting to toast the Green Gator Jig, was because of how neat I thought this one came out. Now, I didn't do the burn on this. This is something that they did, that Texan Knives did. I think they were experimenting. They wanted to see how it went. And I think it looks fantastic. I think that looks great. Put that away. And but yeah, that's the whole reason why I wanted to give it a shot. Usually what happens is just like that, or like with the sky blue, or the tin roof that Shepherd Hills had also. A lot of times it's because they do something and I want to try to emulate it and see what I can do with a similar blade. And I'm really happy with how this one turned out. I got to take some pictures of that. I know there's some people that's going to want to see that. So, awesome. I am really happy with it. That turned out even better than I expected. Put some of that away. Got a bunch of garbage and brushes now. All right. That away. And let's see how this one is doing. I think we got rid of most of the oil already. I didn't pour all that much oil in there, just enough to brush through and get rid of that debris, like I said. And I think we might be good. If I can stop fingerprinting it would be great. Use a microfiber cloth. Give the bolster a nice polish. There we go. Get the other side. That turned out super nice. Nice polish around there. And we're going to hit that badge a little bit, shine up the badge. And one more check to see if there's any cracks. Everything looks good. No crack. Nice and toasty. That's excellent. And a great snap on this one, too. I was really considering not doing it because originally it looked really good. But that temptation set in. I couldn't hold back. So I'm just going to throw those in there. Put that tin away. Now, to get an idea of what that looked like originally before I toasted it, I don't have another Barlow that's in Green Gator Jig, but I do have a Mini Trapper Green Gator Jig. So, where did I put that? I think it was this one here. So to give you an idea of what that looked like before I burned it, I wish I had another Barlow, but I might buy another one. That's what it looked like before I burned it. Roughly what it looked like before I burned it. Nice dark green. This one's a Gator Jig mini trapper. And this is what it looks like now. Or this is what the Barlow looks like now. But roughly about the same. You can see when you torch these, the dye lightens up quite a bit. Because the torch is burning off a lot of that dye that's in the bone. But otherwise, that's pretty much what it looked like before I started toasting. There you go. I think it came out really, really nicely. I don't know if I'm going to do the mini trapper. I kind of like to keep. I usually like to keep. If I do a toasting, I like to keep one looking, one as it is, and then I'll toast another one. Just that way, I have a nice comparison between the two. So I don't think I'll be toasting this one. I'm going to keep this as is, unless I happen across another one of these. Then maybe I'll toast another one. But otherwise, I'm really happy with how the Barlow came out, though. Really happy with how the Barlow came out. So I'm going to go ahead and put this back away. And there, we finished the toasting. Awesome. So let me know if you got any questions on how I did that, what I was thinking, what I was working on doing. Just going to wrap this one back up. And then I don't know if I have any other plans on toasting any others. That one was one that I was really curious about trying, that and the Tequila Sunrise, which I did with a Sodbuster Jr. So I don't know if they had any other colors coming out this year. Like I said, the Green Gator Jig was new for this year. The Tequila Sunrise was new for this year. I don't recall if there's any other colors out for this year. In fact, let me take a look. I also don't burn limited edition stuff because they're limited edition, and that hurts. Let me see if they have any other colors or anything else they're planning. I know Mahogany was another one that was another new color for this year as well. I think I can just do like a search. Well, maybe it'll tell me what new colors were out for case this year. There we go. Let's see what colors they come up with. The yellow synthetics. Okay, can't burn those. Wait, the navy blue bone was new? Oh, with a red shield for the case axe handle. Okay, well, the case axe handle is new for this year, so. Synthetic yellow. Platt's Jig yellow bone on a cheetah cub. The hell's a Platt's Jig? I'm going to take a look at that picture. Blue sycamore wood, can't burn that. Kieranite, seafoam green burl G10. Dark red. Ooh, might have to try doing a dark red bone. And then trying a different type of burn. I've done red bone before, trying to make it look like a bacon bone, like what SMKW has, but it looks more like steak. However, I've seen some crimson bones that look really cool. And I believe they're like a dark red bone, and then they toast from the middle, like really dark in the middle, and it lightens up to more red at the end. So kind of like the reverse of what I sort of do, where I usually do a darker toast from around like the ends or the bolsters, and it lightens up in the middle.
I have a crimson bone somewhere,
Which is buried somewhere.
can't remember what I did with it. I can't remember what case it's in. I think it's in this case here. Hold on. I gotta move a bunch of stuff. Just to give you an idea what a crimson bone looks like. I think this is a crimson bone. Open up. And this one's from Case Collectors Club. Yep, there it is.
Yeah, this is a crimson bone. So how they did really dark in the center. This one happens to be a canoe. Oop, froze there. But maybe, I wonder if I can do that with a dark red. Oh, my camera's freezing, stop it. Do you like the small trapper with the Warncliffe secondary blade? Oh, you like the mini trappers?
I have, let me see here. Because I do like the Warncliffe blades also. They're some of my favorites. I have a few copperheads that have Warncliffe blades. I think I have a mini trapper with a Warncliffe. I think I should have like a few of them, to be quite honest. This one, oh no, this is a copper lock. This one has a Warncliffe blade. This is a copper lock. This is amber bone, I believe. Amber bone carbon steel copper lock. Does this have? No, that has a spade blade. I have a 6.5. I believe that's something like that. Where are my mini trappers? I had them somewhere. I really got to work on sorting my stuff out. I don't have the best sorting system, really. I do have some in cases and things, but I could probably do better with how I have these sorted out. Ugh. I don't know where I put that copper. Or I'm sorry, I don't know where I put that mini trapper. Darn it. No, that has a spade blade in it. I know what you're talking about, though. Those I do like the mini trappers of the Warncliffes. I just don't happen to have or know where my current one is. I know I have a regular size trapper of the Warncliffe. That's a 6.5 bone stack, which I always thought was really neat. This one, now this is a regular size trapper, so it's a little bigger than a mini trapper. But this has the Warncliffe secondary, which I really, really like. I really like their Warncliffe blades. And I really like 6.5 bone stack. They have some really nice thick scales sometimes. And this one's toasted pretty nicely. I didn't do the toast. This is how they do it. The crimson bone is almost like their bacon bone they use now. Kind of. I think their bacon bone is they take a red bone and they sort of like lightly toast it. I do have a bacon bone mini dock, so you can take a look at that. See exactly what a bacon bone's supposed to look like. But I'm thinking like crimson is a much darker red. So, and again, it's a much darker toast also, which kind of makes me nervous because I don't know if I know Case they toast their knives. They use a different process with toasting their knives. I am not familiar with exactly how they do it, but I'd be nervous about burning a knife that dark without cracking it. Do I have my bacon bone around here? Let's see. It should be in this box, but trapper. Nope. I think they were in red boxes, if I remember correctly.
That's not it. I don't know where I put it. I thought it was in a red box, but I'm not seeing it. Blue bone, red stag, blue bone, blue bone. Got a lot of blue bone. Good grief. Mahogany bone. Ocean blue bone baby dock. Okay, maybe it's not in a red box. Darn it. I don't know where it's at. Poop. Oh, wait. Nope. Found it. It's in a black box. Okay, so this is an actual burnt bacon bone baby dock. I think this was the first thing they tried doing the bacon bone with, I believe. And you can see it's a lot lighter toasted. No, they didn't do it really dark. The red bone there. As opposed to the crimson bone, which was really darkly toasted at the center. I mean, black. And then would go to a darker red or crimson color towards the bolsters. So this is the actual bacon bone. This was a mini dock that I got from SMKW. And where's the one that I did with a trapper? So we can do a little comparison now that I have this thing out. Okay, here's the trapper that I did. So you can see here's a comparison. Now, I think the jigging is the same. So you can see my attempt at a bacon bone with a larger trapper. Actually, wait. No, I think this is corncob jig, and I think this is peach seed jig. Pretty close, though. So I think I did a really good job in terms of matching it. The only thing is I feel like because the trapper is much bigger, it just looks more like a cut piece of rare steak than it does bacon. But this one I did myself. This one was from SMKW. I know they came out with new patterns, but I never got a hold of those. I was more interested in the Sea Dragons and the PB&Js. I thought I got the bacon bone because I thought it was neat, but I just prefer the other colors that they have. So I just wanted to get because I like mini docks. Is actually the main reason I got it is because it was a unique mini dock. I got it more for that than I did the bacon bone. But yeah, I'd love to do something like a crimson. I'm just not sure I can get it that dark without cracking it. I'd be worried about cracking it or making it way too brittle. I have a feeling it's not entirely toasted in the center. And I think the way they might have done it is I have a feeling they did maybe an overall dark red dye, and they might have stained the center with a black dye and then toasted it. I'm thinking it might be how they did it, because I can't imagine they toasted it that dark, unless again it's the way they do it. Maybe they just the process they do it, they're able to do that. I don't know. I just know I'd be nervous about trying that. Maybe if I can get a hold of a dark red bone cheaply, I might give it a shot. But that all depends on how much I'm able to pick one of those up for. So we'll see. But it's something to consider because as of right now, this was like the last thing I really wanted to give a shot at trying was the Green Gator Jig. I was just really interested to see how that might turn out. I'm really happy with it. I'm kind of tempted to do another one of these, just maybe a different pattern. I don't know if I can get a hold of, which is going to be really hard. Maybe if I can get a hold of another axe handle, I might try it on an axe handle. I don't know. I do already have a Green Gator Jig axe handle, but I don't want to toast the only one that I've got. I would definitely like to give a shot at toasting another one if I can get my hands on another. But that depends on how much I can get it for. Because axe handles are so popular right now that they're hard to get a hold of, and when you do find them, a lot of times the price can get kind of inflated depending on where you go. And I don't want to I'm not a big fan of overpaying for a knife that I can get for, you know, where the regular price is a lot less. Like I think they run roughly around $70 to $80 if I remember correctly. I have one here. This is the Green Gator Jig axe handle. But it's the only one I have. So, and again, these seem to be they're hard to get a hold of. Even like I got this one from Chasing Blades. Even getting them from Chasing Blades, they have a hard time getting a hold of them. They get them when they can. But this is the axe handle. Another reason why I'd love to try to do the axe handle is again, the jigging goes almost the entire length of the handle. So that would be that pattern would go almost that entire length. It's a little, you got smooth around here on the bolster, just like anything else really, but you've got a lot of jigging. And this one's actually a good candidate for it, but I want to wait to see if I can get get my hands on a second one. This would be a good candidate because those ridges come up to a nice sharp point or sharper line, I should say. I'm really digging the green. I'm really liking this Green Gator Jig. I might get another Barlow. I'm not even a Barlow collector, but I might get another Barlow just to have it, without toasting it. But these have been super popular, these axe handles. They've been really hard to get a hold of. Kind of like the Anzo scales on one of your Spydercos. Oh, I really have to take it. I'll really have to check those out. I do have some Spydercos. I really kind of want to get some new scales for some of the Spydercos that I have. At the same time, with the cost of how much some of those scales are. Again, that question comes to mind, like I was saying with displays. Do I buy new scales or do I buy an entire new knife? Usually buying a whole new knife tends to win out. So I get a new knife instead. But I really would love to get my hands on some really cool scales for some of my Spydercos at some point. But I am really liking this gator jigging. Yeah, it's really nice. And that burn came out really, really well. Now, this is not a locking blade. It does have a half stop. I mean, axe handles have become like one of my favorite patterns. When they came out with these this year, it's just a really nice, I don't know how to explain it. I just love the look. I love the feel of it in the hand. It just feels good in the hand. And I like the fact that it has a half stop. It's almost kind of like a bolstered Sodbuster Junior, except you get a nice half stop. You get a nice clip point blade. And I don't know, aesthetically, I think they look really, really nice. So I don't know, new favorite pattern. And I normally collect like trappers of all sizes. I like mini docks, but they're not making those anymore. Trappers, Sodbuster Juniors. I'm trying to think of what's currently out there. Like muskrats, sow bellies are probably my favorite patterns to collect, and now axe handles along with those.
And I've gotten quite a few of those. Like I said, I lucked out. Got a Sea Dragon version. Got a PB&J version. I got a few others, like the Tequila Sunrise and a Mahogany Bone. I have a red bone coming in an axe handle, and I'm hoping I'm hoping I get a hold of more. Like I really want to get a hold of a buffalo horn axe handle, and there's a 6.5 axe handle. I know they have also a blue bone that I may or may not get. I mean, I might try to get it just so I have all the colors, but it's not like one I'm like the ones I'm really wanting to get right now are the buffalo horn and the 6.5. Those I'm really wanting to get. Let's get that back in the box. Want to know why knives? How you doing? Welcome to the stream. But until I can get my hands on a second one, yeah, I'm not going to toast this one because it's the only one that I've got. Hopefully, I can get my hands on another. If I can get my hands on another, I'll definitely toast it. We'll do the same thing we did here. And we'll get this back in the box. Any Jack Wolf? No, you know, I'd love to get my hands on a Jack Wolf, but they are pricey. I have my limits in terms of how much I'll spend on a knife. And I mean, I'd love to get my hands on a Jack Wolf. They're really gorgeous knives. And the only problem is they tend to be priced out of my range. I try not to spend more than $300 on a knife. They had some inexpensive, I think they called them gateways, but I missed out on them, which really stinks. I really would have loved to have gotten my hands on one. But I guess those are either, I don't know if they were a limited run or just that they are sold out and continuously get sold out. But I haven't been able to get my hands on any Jack Wolves. Jack Wolves or GEC. I'd love to get my hands on a GEC. Love to get my hands on a Jack Wolf. Just a little out of my range. Because I like checking out others. I mean, Case, I'm always going to collect Case. Case are some of my favorites. I just think they have gorgeous knives. But I'd love to check out others. Like, and a lot of like I get interested when I see modern knife manufacturers like Kaiser, for example, or Civivi or Remet or anybody. You know, you normally associate with modern knives. And I love it when I see them come out with their take on a traditional knife. And like one of my favorite knives that I still carry around every now and then. Where did I put that one? Where is it? I was carrying it just a couple days ago. God, I have knives falling all over the place. Because I moved everything and now everything's like everywhere else. That's not it. Where the hell did that one go? Crap, damn it. Great. It probably fell behind something. I won't doubt. I got to be careful of what boxes I throw away before I accidentally throw a knife away. Darn it. I normally keep it in a leather slip because it's one of those knives that I'll just grab and go. Except I don't see the slip here. I don't know where I might have put that slip. Are you over there? Nope, that's not it. I don't know where you went. Darn it. I put it somewhere, now I don't know where I put it. But one of my one of my favorite knives is actually made by Kaiser. Let me see if I can find it. I'm gonna look. I actually have two of them. Sorry, I'm moving cases around. And do I have it out here or is it in the box still? It might still be in the box because I was doing some reorganization. I might have left it in the box. Okay. So it's not there. Crap. I dropped it somewhere and I don't know where it's at. I have knives everywhere. I've really got to work on reorganizing my shit. I understand that. I acknowledge that. I've got so much crap going on that I tend to forget sometimes. Yeah, I don't know where I put it.
That makes me sad. Oh, wait, that's right there. Good grief. I had it in my cup holder. You got a small parakeet from Kaiser? Or was that a smolt? Oh, okay. This is the one I'm talking about. This is Kaiser's take on a traditional. This is their trestle. And I thought this was a beautiful knife. I liked seeing knife manufacturers do stuff like this. You got a really neat, knife with modern materials. This one happens to be, I can't remember if that's aluminum or titanium. I'm assuming that's aluminum. You got a wood insert, and this one happens to be done in their acid wash Damascus, which I think is really, really cool. But I love it. I love seeing modern manufacturers do stuff like this, and their take on a more traditional slip joint knife. And this is one of my favorite ones to carry. I'll carry that along with me. Civivi there's a really neat one that they came out with some time ago. I believe it was 2024, 2025. This one is a slip joint. This one happens to have a pocket clip, and I forgot what they call this, but this like blue wave thing going on. And this one I believe is Nitro V steel. No, 14C28N steel. Really cool slip joint from Civivi. And one of my favorite ones. Darn it, something else fell. I gotta really quit dropping shit. One of my favorite ones is from Ramet. And this one I got because of the name. This one's called the Squirrel. And it's from Ramet. It is a slip joint, M390 steel, titanium, like oil slick titanium scales. Really awesome slip joint. I do love it. Love seeing them do stuff like this. Really nice and just beautifully done slip joint knife. And it's awesome that it's called the Squirrel. The main reason why I got it, actually one of the first modern slip joint knives I think I ever got, simply again because of the name, and really cool oil slick titanium scales on this. But I really like these. And I have another trestle. This one happens, like I said, happens to have the Damascus. I have another one that's a drop point with a plain either Nitro V or 14C. I can't remember what blade material, but very similar to this. Also called the trestle, just different steel. And I believe it's like blue. Looks like a blue micarta insert. I think I might have it still in the box here because I was working on reorganizing stuff. Was this it? I can't remember which is which. I think this was it. I still have it in the box. Oh, wait, no. That's another. I have two Damascus ones. I have two Damascus ones. Is it this one? Yeah, here it is. So same trestle or same model. Well, kind of same model. Except this one has the blue and drop point blade. Which one's this? Is Nitro V or 14C? No, okay, Nitro V steel. Really cool slip joint from Kaiser. And I really do like these like modern takes on a traditional knife. Even Case has gotten on board with that. Case makes tons of different traditional knives. They, on some of their knives, they like called the Crossroads line, which I immediately fell in love with. They're some of my favorite traditional knives to carry. But their Crossroads line, they all come with S35 VN steel. Originally, they came out with the Sodbuster Juniors in Crossroads, and then they started coming out with Barlow's, and I don't know if they're having other ones come out. This is a Crossroads
This is one of the first crossroads they came out with. This one happens to be a black burlap micarta S35 VN steel Sodbuster Junior. So again, more modern materials in your traditional style or traditional pattern. I'm really glad Case came out with these. I think these are really, really awesome knives, especially for everyday carry. I keep this one in a leather slip because this is another one that I'll toss in my pocket. That I'd like to carry with me. And they have another one, like I have another one here. This one's a Barlow version. Again, S35 VN steel. This particular one has rich light scales with G10 bolsters and G10 inner liner with another clip point blade. I like these because they have the half stop. But again, really awesome everyday carry knives because the more modern materials. S35 VN steel is a really good steel. It's a premium steel, and they generally don't run too expensive. Now the Barlows tend to be a little bit more expensive. I think these are closer to around $100, but the Crossroad Sodbuster Juniors, depending on the model that you get, I've seen go for around like 70 on up. And but I still think they're fantastic knives. What did I do with? Okay, that way. Yeah, before I end up with 50 knives on my table and I can't remember where the hell I took them from. Ugh. If you hear me grunt, it's because I'm lifting a case full of knives. These things get heavy. Good grief. Okay. Then I'll put this one back in its slip. All right, there. Okay. We're at 9 minutes to 6, which is pretty much about where I like to end it. But if you have any questions, let me know. Excuse me. I'd be happy to answer any questions either on anything that you've seen, anything in my collection, or if just any questions on knives in general. I'm not an expert by any means. I just like talking about knives, and I learn a lot doing this live. Like I learn something new every time I run a live. Now, in case you were here earlier, these are the two new knives I got today. This was the olive green smooth olive green bone trapper, and then we actually got this just today, and I burned it today. Was the Green Gator Jig Barlow. So got that knife, well, not today, but this last week, and toasted it, and it came out really, really nicely. I'm really glad at how that came out. A lot, much better than I even thought it would come out. I think that looks absolutely excellent. So that's these are the new knives that I got this week. I'm expecting a couple new knives next week. I don't want to say what they are yet until after I get them in. But I'll have a few coming in, and we can go over those. I don't know. I don't have any plans yet to toast another knife, but I mean that always could change depending on what I see, what I get in, and stuff like that. There's always a chance that can happen. Otherwise, we'll just have another show and tell, talk about knives and stuff in general, and just have another fun Saturday about it. Anyway, that's pretty much going to be about it. So unless you have any other questions, let me know. That olive green looks really neat. I got to pull that back out again. Again, these are limited. I don't know how limited these are because I don't believe they're serial numbered. I didn't see a serial number on them. Usually if they're serial numbered, they'll have a number on the bolster. But I do believe that these are limited. I wasn't even aware that. Did they say this was a SHOT Show knife or a Blade Show knife? I can't remember now. I know we looked it up earlier. Oh no, okay. So they say it was a SHOT Show knife. Trapper SHOT Show, smooth olive green bone, made for SHOT Show. Just this year.
but I don't see any info as to how limited this sucker is. Wish I could find more info. I'm gonna have to dig around a little bit more. And it comes in that nice tin. And not seeing anything else on how they did or what they how limited they are. Poop. Oh well. Either way. Wait, what? I keep getting notifications. What is this? Who's this from? Oh. Wow. I've got a knife heading my direction, and it is... They're saying it's going to arrive later in the week, but it's moving fast. Makes me happy. Anyway, I think that's going to be it for today. We're at about 5:55. I just got to start getting dinner ready for my girlfriend and I. So thank you guys so much for joining me. Hope you guys had fun watching. And if you liked what you saw, please drop a like down below. And if you haven't yet, hit that like, hit that subscribe, and hit that notification bell. That way, you know when I drop a new video. Hopefully, I'll come out with a few more videos this upcoming week. And yeah, that's pretty much about it. Plans are hopefully some more videos throughout the week, and then hopefully doing another live. Now that I think I figured out what was going on with my phone, hopefully another live Saturday at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. Thanks again so much for all of your support. You guys have been absolutely awesome. And that's it. We'll see you in the next video, I hope. All right. You guys have a good rest of the weekend. And bye-bye. If I can remember how the hell, where the hell did my OBS go? My OBS disappeared. There it is. All right. I'm going to just cut this. Wait, what? Is what, Brian on? Who? Wait, who? Where? I don't know if I have Brian on my thing. Is he a knife guy, or are we talking about somebody else? I almost hit the button and I heard you talking. Or saw you talking. I mean, we could try rating somebody. Let me take a look here. It's going to take me a hot minute. Oh, really? All right. Let's hold on a second. I didn't know he was up and streaming. Normally, I look for another knife channel to raid because this, I'm running my knife channel, but we can always raid Brian. Let me see here. It's good. It takes me a hot minute to do so because this takes forever. Brian's a gaming streamer. I do run a video game stream at night. Let's see. And Brian had been a great supporter of my video game stream. Let's see if I can find him. We'll go ahead and rate him. All right. Well, thanks again. Hope to see you guys in the next video. And yeah, stick around for the raid. So